reminders that they should come up right away. We'll be starting by 7:10. So while we are waiting, you can remind your friends and your enemies as well. Put it up on your status, put it up everywhere you can. Let's get people here. Participants, the list is growing, 22. We can keep them coming in as we wait for others to join. So once it's 7:10, we'll set the ball rolling. That we have enough time to have our discussions. Wherever others join us, they would continue. Sorry, they'll start with us whenever they join us, so as not to waste much of our time. Good evening, everyone. For those that are in Nigeria, good evening. Those that are outside, good day. And we trust you have had a wonderful, wonderful day. And we know that the month is gradually coming to an end, and we are hoping that has been a productive month for each and every one of us at our various walks of life and or education pursuits. So this evening we'll be continuing from where we stopped at the last time, and it was a very interesting one. And today, when I saw the flyer, I don't know if anyone is like me, but when I saw the flyer, I was like, wow, the single people are going to suffer again, because the married people have used their hand to choke our necks once again with their couple pictures. But no wahala. By God's grace, we'll take our own pictures sooner than later. So thank you for the paper, and thanks for choking us. And so without
No, it is to inspire you.
Okay, if it is to inspire us, that's good. So we will start with a word of prayer, and I'll be saying the prayer. Then after that, I will introduce the panelists that are on ground, and then we'll start with that. As other panelists come, we'll take it up from there so that we don't waste much of our time. Because last time we started late, and then we had so much to cover. So if we start early now, we'll be able to finish most of what we have. So wherever you are, you can just be in the mood of prayer while we pray. And thank you, everlasting Father. Thank you for everything you have done for us. Thank you for keeping us alive till this very moment. If there's any way we have sinned against you, Lord Jesus, we pray that you forgive us. We thank you for this opportunity where we can all come together to learn. Oh Lord, we pray that you continue to inspire the hosts. We pray that the panelists, you shall give them the right words to say. And we that will be listening and learning, oh Lord, we pray that you will give us the strength and the courage to be able to do what is right. Thank you, Lord, because we know that you'll be with all the technicalities that will make this meeting possible. We pray that you be with the network providers and the devices we're using. Thank you, Lord, because we know that we would have good news to tell from today. Thank you, Lord, for answering our prayers, for our prayed through your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
I'm sure we are used to this apology, but unfortunately there's no light, and that's why my camera is turned off. I was watching the recording of the last edition, and I was like, wow, if only everyone had their cameras on, would have had a beautiful video. So unfortunately, there's no light here, but wherever we are, if it's possible for us to have our cameras on, okay, I can see Pastor Dixon has already joined and his camera is turned on. If it's possible to have your cameras turned on, that would be a plus for those that watch on YouTube. It gives it a little bit of life for them to, follow up. But if you're like me and there's no electricity for you to power up your lights, that's also fine. The most important thing is for us to, interact well. And please, once again, your mics should always be on mute so that we'll not have interference. It was a pathetic one last time. So please, wherever you are joining in, from immediately you join, just make sure you look at your microphone icon to make sure it's mute. And then when you want to speak, you can unmute and the floor will be yours to speak. Thirdly, the comment section, make it your home. You can send in chats. We have people that will be reading it. Even the panelists also read that. So if you have an idea or a thought, before you forget it, you can just write it there, and that will help you remember and help us also see that across. So those are the informations I have to give us. So please, let's follow this information so that we'll have a favorable summit this evening. So today is a follow-up of the last topic that we handled here, and this time is coming with a heavy punch. And topic is why Adventist singles don't marry themselves. Changing the narrative. Are you the problem? So the sub is changing the narrative. So we need to change the narrative. And in changing that narrative, we need to find out if you are the problem, if I am the problem. And that is why we need the questions. That we can't get a general pool of questions because this hits us individually and it hits us at different levels. So your questions can start coming in now. So our host is very much available with us, Pastor Theodore Dixon, and the panelists from last time too are also here. And as I said, with the pictures that are using to choke us on our necks, we have Pastor and Dr. Mrs. Eddie. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to join us last time, but we prayed for her healing, and I'm sure the Lord has granted her speedy recovery, and we would like to hear from her. We also have Elder and Dr. Mrs. Dogubawa joining us once again. She was with us last time, and it was an interesting one. And we're hoping today will also be quite interesting. And we have, last but not the least, Dr. and Dr. Mrs. Ernest Honori was also with us last time. So I believe from these pictures that I'm seeing that their better halves are not far away. So if we have any questions that might be gender sensitive, I'm sure they can drag their spouse to help quench the fire. So thank you all. Please, let's remember to mute our microphones. Let's remember to start sending in your questions. And let's remember that today's all about you. We'll give you all the opportunity you need to speak. And by God's grace, we will brainstorm and find answers together. So to coordinate the summit alongside myself, we have Constance. Constance also did this with us last week, and she's here once again by God's grace to help us alongside myself. So relax. If you need to grab water is needed. You know, Pastor Dixon likes tricking us, so please, you need to get water by your side so that you can be able to, take it in the hard way. So Constance, are you with us?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Patrick.
Good evening, Constance. Welcome.
I'm fine, sir. Okay. Our question for today, we have, are we really going into relationship with the right motive? So, Dr. Bauer, I would like you to help us with this question. Are we really going into relationship with the right motive? Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Good evening, Pastor Dixon, Patrick, Constance. Thank you once again for the privilege to talk with ourselves. We are grateful to God for the opportunity. Are we really going into relationships with the right motive? Okay, if I will rephrase it, I will say going into a relationship with the right motive. Why are you in a relationship, first of all? what do you want from it? Why do you even consider it? What comes into your mind, and then you tell yourself, okay, I think I need to be in a relationship. For me, I'll say, unfortunately, it's the world does not see relationship or define relationships the way we we do as Christians. And so it becomes tricky on the mind of any young adult, because the popular definition of a relationship will be the butterflies in the belly and the true love's first kiss, right? Okay, so going into a relationship for us as Christians need to be redefined. Need to be redefined. First of all, there should be a very good level of interaction with across gender, as in if you are a male to a female or a female to a male, we should have good rapport, good relationships generally. And if that background is right, and one has grown to a level where you think, okay, I want to start thinking of settling down, and definitely you will need to be in a relationship with someone who you're going to settle down with, and then that drives going into a relationship. So I would say, what is your drive? What is your reason for being in a relationship? There's this definition, or there is this idea that you can just be friends with everybody and commit to different people at the same time. You know, that is wrong. Being in a relationship has to do with, number one, the maturity, or would I say, number one, coming to that recognition that I want to settle down, I need to settle down. And so I'm working towards this, maybe not in the immediate, if circumstances be that way, especially if, for example, you're a student at the undergraduate level, and you meet the person, you meet the one, you meet the guy, you meet this person that everything clicks, but what separates you or what hinders you is maybe you're still in school and you don't feel you can cope with that now. Yes, then it can be for a long time. But if you are not come to that point where I want to settle down, just be friends. Be very friends, be open, be nice. And for me, going to relationship should be defined. That's what I'm trying to say. Defined, and the definition is settling down. If that is not, if it's just for the fun of it, it will be risky. If it's just for the fun of it, it will be what's the word now? Playing with fire. Okay. It should not be just for the fun, just for the experience. Just okay, because others are in, I should be in. No, no. It should be defined. And for me, the basic definition is because you want to settle down. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma. Dr. Eden, can you throw more light on it, please?
Were you referring to me?
Yes, sir. Dr. Ines, good evening.
Yeah, hello. Good evening. Oh, okay. I think it's for me, it's a yes and a no answer. Because I am aware that there are young people who recognize early what they want. Unfortunately, they are in the minority. As it's a problem of the wider society that finds its way also in church, in the sense that in the wider society, people date just for the sake of dating, go into relationships for the sake of relationships, and to a large extent, just to explore sexual intimacy, And so if that defines the motive, it becomes very challenging. Because sometimes you go into these relationships with such mindsets, and then somebody becomes a victim, because it's also possible that the other person has come in with the right intentions, but unfortunately has ended up with you. These are some of the bases for which some stereotypes are formed. So you see people say some people are useless or serious and things like that. So for me, I think it boils down to doing one's due diligence and trusting God to guide and direct our steps, because you will always have men and women who will get into relationships for all the wrong reasons, right? And like I said, they are in the majority. Very few young people understand why they need to be in relationships and have a positive mindset towards why relationships are necessary for them at a particular time of their lives. The way I see it is that there has to be a healthy degree of readiness. One needs to be able to ask very relevant questions. The way I am now, am I ready to feature in someone else's life? You know, am I stable? Am I sensible? If I was the only person in the room, would I be willing to be in a relationship with me? Am I toxic? Am I open-minded? Because you're going to be meeting with, whoever it is you're going to be going into a relationship with will be coming with his or her mindset, his or her sentiments, biases, scars sometimes. You know, some people come and they are scarred, and you know, you have to be ready for all of those. So I'm thinking that if we are properly guided, now this brings in the equation, the issue of mentorship, right, which we pointed out the last time as being, you know, lacking a great deal, you know, in terms of focused mentorship. People just tend to just roll, experiment, and then the older people judge. What are they about to do now? This is good for nothing young people, nothing ever. They're not humble, they're not this, they're not that. Whereas the people pointing accusing fingers have not made any serious efforts to, you know, help provide a structure that will nurture these young adults into making wiser choices. So, but as far as the question goes, there are those who they do their due diligence, they trust God, they ask questions, they seek out mentorship even in environments where it is not existing structurally. Whereas you also have those who just live as if they just go like the wind and cause all sorts of problems in their week, and that is usually not good. By the time they wake up, a lot of damage has been done. Put up very bad reputations for themselves, and then nobody wants to be with them, and you know, so all of those. So if we want, we will do what is right. It's a function of choice, in my opinion. So nobody is too young to be wise, right? Just like you can find people who are much, much older and they exhibit a great dose of foolishness. So either ways, if we want to do right, we're going to position ourselves for that to be our portion. And then we can make those kind of choices that will help us to go into relationships for the right reasons, at the right time, in a way that nurtures the other person and also enhances our growth. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Eda Bawa, do you have anything to say about it? Okay. Eda Bawa.
Good evening, everyone.
sir.
Sorry. Good evening, everyone. We go into relationships. If genuinely going into it, will definitely have to be for a reason that is noble and appropriate, and not just for a frivolous reason, as the case may be. It has to be something that is genuine, something that somebody has thought it through and clearly and has come to terms that this is what I think I should be embarking upon, and not just something that should come out of sentiments that are probably not based on the right direction or inclination, as the case may be.
So much, sir. So our next question, Pastor Dixon, our next question goes to you.
Sorry, I actually got that. I don't know question.
Are we finding it hard to connect with ourselves?
I think Pastor Dixon is having connection issues. He abruptly got off. So you might want to check again. Constance.
All right, I think we're having some network challenges here and there. We have a comment. Okay, Dr. Mike Ogu is with us. I don't know, Dr. Mike Ogu, if you are hearing me, you can. I like this comment. So if you are hearing, you can just go ahead and quickly just explain this in about 2 minutes before we move on, so that I don't have to read. It's kind of interesting, so I'd like to hear from you. Dr. Mike, are you still here?
Yeah, good evening. Good evening,
Yeah,
everyone.
good evening.
Thank you very much for. I just wanted to drop, just drop the comment. But I was listening to Dr. Ernest, and he made one very. Let me just greet. Good evening, my senior colleagues, and everyone listening. It's a pleasure to be here. I missed the last edition, and I was so pained when I saw the response, the comments afterwards. So I had to set a reminder to remind me of this one. But quickly, Dr. Ernest made a comment about mentorship and guidance in making these relationship decisions, and I think that is very key, because using myself as an example, of course I was privileged to grow up, in a community where I had older ones, or people who were a little older than myself, who I mingled with, and from whom I was able to draw some lessons that helped me, in my own life, or that has helped me so far in my own life journeys. And I still have those friends who I still, rub minds with one, every now and then. But I think that mentorship is very important. As young people in Africa, in Nigeria, especially in that environment, or in the environment where we find ourselves, we don't really talk about these things. Your parents hardly will sit you down at home and perhaps have an informal conversation with you about your relationship with an opposite sex, or your uncle or auntie do that kind of thing. That's something that we hardly see in our culture, which is something that has negatively affected us, in terms of making decisions about relationships. And so the decisions we make are based off of what we hear from our friends, the discussions we have with our friends, peer pressure, things that we read in social media. Those are what form our decision, or inform the kind of decisions we make. So if we're going to make wise, responsible decisions, then we have to have the right kind of mentorship, that will help us position us well enough to, make those decisions that will be in our benefit, you know, and that will give glory to God. So that was just the point I was trying to make. Thank you very much, Patrick.
Hello. Okay. So, let me just quickly go through the questions I have here. I'm having some network difficulties myself. So, the first question I'm seeing here is, in this day and generation, what important qualities do we need to check out for in a partner? Which qualities are negotiable? Which qualities are not? So, Dr. Ernest, you can answer for the male folks. Why Dr. Mrs. Eddie, if Dr. Mrs. Eddie is hearing me, he will answer for the female folks. So, Dr. Mrs. Eddie, let's go with you first, if you can hear me. Okay, at this point, I'm not sure if anyone can hear me. Can someone
Can hear you. You're clear.
Okay. So that means Dr. Eddie might not be online at the moment.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, so now we are asking what qualities should ladies look forward to in a guy when they're considering them as a partner? And if possible, which are non-negotiable qualities, or are there some that can be negotiable? Are there some that are must-haves?
Okay, good evening, everyone. Well, I think I would use myself as an example because I think for me, when I was thinking of settling down, I wanted a man that was a Christian. That was like a starting point for me. So I needed someone that loved God. That was non-negotiable for me. Of course, I wouldn't look outside the church. So one of the qualities I actually was very specific about was the fact that the man that I'm going to settle down with must be a Seventh-day Adventist. Okay, that was for me, that was very straightforward, because there are some things that I knew that I would not be able to maybe negotiate, like you're saying, negotiate. I get some qualities that I can negotiate with. So I wanted someone with whom I could share certain values with, especially when it comes to my relationship with God. So that was number one for me. Someone that I could trust, someone that was trustworthy. So that was one quality. Someone that I felt could be honest with me, open with me, someone that I could just discuss anything with, someone that I could play with. I could be very playful, all right? So I needed someone that I could be very free with. And of course, because my life kind of revolved around the church, it also meant that I needed someone that I could relate with within the church. So some specific values, ethical values that I could not actually do without: honesty, trustworthiness, the fact that the person outrightly loved God and showcased it. Those were very important for me. And then other things are negotiating. And when it comes to the choice of a life path, making choices in relation to relationship, I'm thinking that we're talking about lifetime relationship, maybe someone you want to settle down with. If there are things that you don't want, there are things that you don't like, don't think that, okay, maybe when I settle down with him, I'm going to be able to change. If there are things you can't actually accommodate and you see it in this person, you better just stay away, because it's going to be there forever. No, it's just going to be there. And so if there are, of course, before getting into such relationship, it means that you would have had some time with the person. And it means you have to be very critical. You have to ask any question, anything, just talk to the person very freely. And if there are things you don't want, then don't think that by the time we settle down, it's going to change. So what are areas that I wouldn't want to negotiate with? Seriously, I think I just have one. I don't think I was ready to negotiate with my Adventist beliefs. I wasn't ready to negotiate with that at all. I know very well, and I still know that. I knew very well then that I would never be able to go to church on Sunday with anyone. That one I knew. So that was non-negotiable. And so is either you're a Seventh-day Adventist or I'm not interested. Okay. And because of that background, there were just certain things that in fact, very specifically, when I fell in love with the Seventh-day Adventist Church, I felt that the best way I could actually show my love for God was to marry a pastor. And that came true for me. So it actually depends on what you're looking out for. It depends on what you're looking out for, the values that you hold on to. And when you see those values portrayed in a person, you just know that I can actually work with this person. So for me, it was just the church thing. That one was very clear for me. I wouldn't negotiate with anyone about that. I hope I've said something meaningful.
Yes, you have. You have said a lot of meaningful things, and thank you for that wonderful response. So, Dr. Ernest, let's hear from your own point of view.
All right. So, well, on this subject, I think that people just need to be honest with themselves. There are so many sides to every person, and I believe no one knows you better than you know yourself. And as such, it's very important you be honest with yourself. The first question that was asked was about whether we got into relationships for the right reasons and all of that. For me, I believe everybody is a work in progress, but there are things that need to just be in place. You need to be somebody that is open-minded, reasonable, can engage in conversations, right? And so it's, when we understand that this thing called marriage will survive largely on the basis of how complementary both parties can be, then you understand that it's not going to be healthy if your weakness is equally the weakness of your spouse. And you see, these are some of the things that requires mentorship. Take for example, how many people get to the point where they are ready to get married and they understand temperaments, for instance? Okay, so you are a dominant choleric and the person you are dating is a dominant choleric, and you are wondering every day why the thing doesn't look like it's ever going to work. Once there's a fallout, it is fireworks. The house is going to collapse and nobody is agreeing. That just as an example. So for me, I think there are some baselines that need to be in place. First, are you teachable? Do you have emotional maturity? Whatever it is, I think once the foundation is right, the person is going to grow. That's very, very key for me. And I think that it's sometimes very unrealistic when we try to expect that other people will possess attributes that are very, very far from us ourselves. You want somebody to be this, that, and you are very, very far from it. Okay, so I would rather a situation where you humble yourself, you're objective about who you are, you have a very strong understanding of who you are, what your limitations are, and then you diligently seek out people who will enhance you. Not necessarily people who are very, very similar to you, because that can become a problem. For instance, another example would be you are a very, very passive, you're not driven, you are a chronic phlegmatic, and then you are dating another chronic phlegmatic, and then nothing ever happens. Nobody is motivating anybody. It's okay just as it is, you know. You are earning a 20,000 naira salary as a case in point, and then 5 years down the line, you are still happy to be earning 20,000 naira salary, and nobody is pushing the other person to do better, you know. So I believe that the answer to that question situates best from a position of self-understanding. Now, when you understand yourself, you do an objective assessment of your strengths and your weaknesses, and then you proactively seek out with you trusting God to help you find such a partner that will help complement you. And while at it, you're not an overbearing person who expects what you're not willing to give. So it's a balancing act, in my opinion, that I believe once you are able to strike that balance, most relationships will work. So it's not about labeling this on, for me, it's about who am I and what is best for me, objectively speaking, through the lens of me, not through the lens of my parents, through the lens of my friends, through the lens of society, not any of those. And then over time, allow nurture, allow growth, allow open-mindedness with God's help, and then all things will situate well. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, while you were sharing your thoughts, I got a comment from your wife. So, Dr. Mrs. Ernest Antipat, let's hear. I hope you can
Yeah,
hear
I'm
me.
here. I'm here.
All
Thank
right,
you.
fantastic.
Good evening, everyone. Good to be here. All right.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah. And okay, so while Dr. Eddie was talking, I thought about a couple of things that I really want to share. Yeah. I mean, it's very important that we, think about who we can be with spiritually and how we can, marry someone who is of our faith. But I believe there are so many other things too that we have to put into consideration, because the truth of the matter, or the way I perceive life, is not only about our faith or about, God when it comes to relationship. That's the foundation, but there are so many other things. For the ladies, I believe that one of the things that you need to ask yourself is, how does he treat the females in his life? How does he treat his mother? What does he say about her? How does he treat his sisters? The females that are in his life. Because if the way he treats those people is going to be the way he'll treat you. So if he's hostile, speaks ill of his mom, he's mean to his female siblings, they don't expect him to treat you like an egg. That will not happen. Another thing is, how does he handle conflict? All right. And this is an aspect in relationships that we don't necessarily see so easy, because people have a way of camouflaging their temperaments. So you think he's so quiet, he's so gentle, and then people get married and you hear he beats her, or he's, maltreating her. You need to find a way to test him and know how he would handle conflict. I'm not saying push him, but when things arise, it might not be a conflict between the both of you. It could be conflict between him and someone else. How does he react? Is he aggressive? That is really important. I think another thing that you also need to consider is, do we have any shared hobbies? This is very important. These things might not sound so big, but they are very important. Marriage is long-term, all right? You don't want to be getting bored. Okay, so is there anything he likes that I like that we can do for fun while we are married? You need to find that out as well. And then, does he talk about his long-term goals? Or is he just someone who lives in the moment? He doesn't talk about where our children will school, where we'll see ourselves in 5 years. Does he talk about my career development, his career development? Very important. How does he treat children? So when you see him around his nieces, his nephews, or even children you meet outside, do you see any emotions in this man toward the children? Or is he shushing the children? All right? Because that's the way he's going to treat your own children. What is his sense of humor? Can he take a joke? Is he going to be offended every time I crack a joke? You know, or are we going to laugh over some things because he has a sense of humor? You need to find that out as well. All right. And then, does he have self-esteem, or is he going to be someone that in future, peradventure, something happens, my husband is not working, I am working, and then my husband is feeling like he's nothing, or he's feeling envious and jealous that I'm making more? All right. So I think these are also very important, in as much as we're considering, or we're saying, marry someone from your, from your faith, marry someone who puts God there in his life. You also need to marry someone that has qualities that will make you enjoy the marriage. Because there are men of God, let's be very frank with ourselves. There are men of God who beat their wives. I mean, we live in this world, we've heard things like that. There are men of God who profess to be very righteous, but they cheat on their spouses, all right? They abuse their spouses emotionally, not just physically, all right? So don't totally focus on the spiritual. It's very important. It should be the foundation, but also look at other things. And then, of course, coming back to the spiritual, can we pray together? Will my husband ever say, let's pray, let's have a devotion? All right. All those things are very important. So that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Auntie Pat. In this same line, Pastor Eddie, I believe I've seen your name in the comment section, and this one is directed towards, we know the story of you being a student and your wife being a lecturer, and on our WhatsApp platform we have had so much questions around status, where the lady feels like she has more qualifications than the man, or the man feels they're not in the same, qualification. This time around we're using qualification. So how will I be able to ask out someone who is already a banker, meanwhile I'm just finishing my WAEC? Or how will he look at me that I don't have these qualifications? That, well, what did it for you? How were you able to scale that stereotype, if you understand what I mean?
Okay. Thank you. Good evening once again. We're looking at something that many people find very difficult to handle. What I do, in fact, as a Seventh-day Adventist church pastor, the first degree that we acquired is just all that we need, all right? And imagine a situation where, in fact, when I married my wife, I had just my first degree, but she had made 2 master's degree on the table. All right. The last speaker talked about self-esteem. How do you look at yourself? Unfortunately for me, these are not the issues that cut in for me as problems. Why? Before I got married, I had already settled with myself that any woman I'm going to marry must be a woman who will, one, be interested in developing herself. Number 2, the only thing that will limit her is the sky. So that already is a settled thing. And so when I looked out for someone to marry, I was looking out for someone who would give me respect, because I cannot trade that one. All right. Respect. Are we going to have an unconditional acceptance? Are we going to be up and going with transparency? Is there going to be commitment to this estate we have, decided to do together? So for me, any other thing doesn't matter. The last speaker said a couple of things that I think I relate with. There are people who cannot deal with the fact that your wife is earning more than you do, or your wife is more schooled than you are. I mean, it is not a problem to me. I don't know why. Maybe because my understanding has made it that way. All right. I understand that many people have issues with it, but going forward, if you marry for competition, then you have those troubles. But if you see the person you're marrying as just the gift that God has brought into your life, then whatever it is that comes with her complements you. And have your peace. When you stress yourself so much about trying to, how do I put it, establish, the African man thing. Now, the moment you go into that area, then you are sure to meet chaos. For me, in fact, let me tell you this. My wife had been itching to join me in Calabar. The only reason she is still at Babcock is me. Why? It is a promise I made that, look, I will not, in the name of marriage, destroy a person's career. I know what she does and how she loves to do what she does. Now we're married, pull her out of this place, go to Calabar when you're not sure what is happening there. We have tried a couple of things with the University of Calabar and all of those places. We have hindrances, things we cannot do because of our understanding of God. The kind of compromises we cannot get ourselves mixed up in. So, yeah, move with me and stay where I am. But the moment I do that, I will be hitting at the core of her being. I will be fighting to destroy her career, and that is not what I want to do. All right. It gives me joy that she progresses. I am proud of her. I step out of this house knowing that this is my wife and this is someone I can present anywhere. I can go anywhere with. It is for me, I consider the person I married to be an added advantage to my personal life and ministry. And so whatever it takes to encourage her, persuade her to pursue her career, I'm just good with it. I'm just good with it. Some people require to work on their self-esteem, understanding what part they play in God's creation. And when they understand this little thing, this question would not be an issue. I don't know if I touched the core of what you intended.
Yes, you have. And you also took it a notch further by, putting the pastoral touch to it, because some of the people that made this comment also have one thing to do with being pastors. So that's well covered. So thank you. The the comment is the chat section is buzzing up. So let me attend to those comments in the chat. before I move forward. So I have a question. When the Bible says we shouldn't be unequally yoked with unbelievers, is it related to marriage, like in the case of choosing a life partner? Pastor Eddie, you can just quickly take that for us.
Okay. That's a beautiful text, but I can tell you that many times we overburden the text to mean what is not. In fact, if you want to look at 2 Corinthians chapter 6, I think that should be verse 14. It is a part of the counsel of Paul in trying to express the fact that we are living temples, or the temples of the living God. And so if you want to read it outside of the King James Version, because we drag it from the King James Version and force different kinds of meanings to it. But if we take it as a principle, we can apply the principle in most of the things we do. For instance, verse 14 says something that sounds like, don't team up with those who are unbelievers. How can righteousness be a partner with wickedness? I hope you follow me. First of all, don't team up with unbelievers. And then the question, how can righteousness be a partner with wickedness? How can light live with darkness? What harmony can there be between Christ and the devil? How can a believer be a partner with an unbeliever? Are we together? So, you see, first of all, it was not directly nailed upon marriage. And that's why I don't want us to misunderstand ourselves. It is not nailed upon marriage that, you must not marry an unbeliever. Of course, if you marry someone you share the same faith with, there are many things you people will not battle about. For instance, you're a Christian and you're marrying someone of the Hindu religion. And then you have certain traditions that there are religious rites that they will perform that may be different from what you know as a Christian. No matter how you want to understand, I love the person, there is a point where something does not connect. Now you have children. The question then will be, what path do you want to niche out for your children? That confusion will be challenging. So it is safer to associate with someone that you share the same values with. But I'll tell you this, there are more and more brothers of the same faith that are worse than infidels. I have the opportunity of participating in joining a few persons, a few couples. I tell you, the rate at which divorce is rising in the Adventist church, you won't even believe that this is a people that have been so blessed with this kind of understanding about marriage. All right. But I want to believe that if you really want to associate with someone who does not share the same beliefs with you, certain things should be on the table. Of course, when you're doing business, you want to be sure that the person is trustworthy. You want to be sure that the person will not mess up your investment. Those things must be aligned. Those things must be aligned. But the discussion we are having tonight is about relationship. So when you relate with someone that does not share the same values or belief system with you, well, you might be running some kind of risk when it comes to things that matter, so that you don't turn your children against yourselves. Number two, do not associate with unbelievers. You understand, my brother and my sisters? If you have to deal with someone who does not believe God, so many things are waiting on your plate to battle with. But there's also a part of it that has to do with, okay, you're a Seventh-day Adventist and the other person who is coming at you is a non-Seventh-day Adventist, but is a Christian. I know that there are certain things that you can agree, but be sure that your discussions border on sustainable things. I mean things that are with deep values. And when you hold that conversation and you don't see a head going forward, then it will be appropriate that you disconnect. Finally, I will say this. I think the speaker I keep referring to said something that relates to this thought. If you have a man that is coming to you, this is my take. I cannot say, oh, you must marry a Seventh-day Adventist. I will never say that, because I have seen some non-Seventh-day Adventists who became the pillars of this church. So if this man respects women, if he is someone who respects women, if he is someone who can, who deals nicely with his mother, his sisters, you can draw from that experience and decide what will work for you. And then the next caution is, be sure also he is an independent young man who is not like a mother's boy, a mother's pet, because those ones can sometimes, if you find a mother who is not rooted in God, they will bring many other crises to you. But however it is, prayerfully seek guidance, prayerfully use the senses God has given you already to observe the person you're relating with, and hope that grace will find you to have a soft landing. Thank you.
All right, Pastor Dixon, I know you might be itching to quickly say something on this because you're passionate about this conversation. So, Pastor.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Sorry, I have struggled with my network. I don't know what has happened tonight. I just want to thank our panelists for coming and for doing justice to this conversation. I have listened to what I met again since after I rejoined. Particularly, I think that riding on the first edition, if majority of those who are here tonight were here last time, you will agree with me that some of these issues were dealt with. Or for the sake of those who were not here, everything that has been said is important. And I remember saying that the reason why this ministry was started is to help singles who are getting ready for marriage to become complete. And the complete, COMPLEAT, is taken as against the other one because it's a concept that represents the idea of preparing in every area of life before, meeting the person that wants to marry you. That way, you are not going into marriage as a liability. That way, you're not going into marriage as, an ignorant person. At least you would have schooled yourself, at the basic level. But that's not always the case. Do we blame the singles totally for this disaster? No, because if I ask you, how many of you singles here, how many of you adults here, that your dad sat you down, maybe the men who are here, and told you this is how to relate with a woman. You have to do this, you don't have to do this. I mean, sitting down, not by way of harassment and talking down on you or, bullying you. Maybe 1 in 10. The last time I made a presentation somewhere, I asked, and no man, I had over 400 men, only 3 persons raised their hand to say that somebody taught them. So we will agree that even to the young people that we are discussing with, not too many of them have received direct instruction or guidance from parents. You may just hear ladies, oh, please come and learn how to cook. I don't want you to bring embarrassment to us or in your husband's house. That's maybe what you hear around the ladies. For the guys, you have to build a house before you get married. You have to train your siblings. The rudiments of getting ready, the skills and technical know-how, nobody talks to anybody about it. So that is why marriages have produced a union of ignorance, who try their luck and then, or who try whatever they want to do, a conglomeration of singles who are just roaming from one corner of a relationship to the other without, some good direction. So we are here so we can learn. There is a big crisis out there, and we are all product of this society that is in crisis. So it's important to take note of all that has been said. But I want to say that in order to become a complete single, as it were, there are at least 6 areas of preparation. I have tried to talk about it. I wish I'll be enabled to share my screen if it is possible. Otherwise, I will just speak to it. I have 6 areas of preparation, which I have shared at some fora. First, there is need for physical preparation. Before you want to get married, male or female, you want to prepare physically. You have to be an adult. It's not necessarily a function of age, even though age is important. But at least when a guy is 22 years old and a lady is 20 years old, I can say that they are full adults. But adulthood, maturity is not a function of age. It's a function of how much you know. First and foremost, where your heart is, what constitutes your worldview, what drives you. And then how your emotional maturity. But at least you don't have to be a minor. And part of it for a guy is that you have a house, because before God brought Eve to Adam, he gave him a home. So get one, even if you're not building it, rent it, so you can take your wife in. You have to be economically prepared. Get a job as a man, get a job as a lady. Okay, God put Adam in the garden and he asked him to dress it. He gave him a job. So get a job. It's biblical. It's universal. Don't marry somebody when you don't have a direction. You can't take care of the person. It doesn't have to be, somewhere in the moon, but get something doing. Because if you can't provide for your house, the Bible says, you are worse than unbelievers. 1 Timothy 5:8. And if you don't pray that third parties overrule your family life, then get a job, because he who pays the piper dictates the tone. Some just glide, like Dr. Ennis was sharing about temperaments. Some are dominant phlegmatics and they are spectators of life. They watch the weather. Any little, change of weather is good, is enough time to go, enough reason to go and sleep. You can't survive with that. You can't take care of another man's wife with that. You can't also be useful as a woman with that. So get something doing, okay? Get something doing. As a lady who is expecting to get married to a man who is this, a man who is that, ask yourself too, what am I bringing to the table? You don't have to enter into your relationship, as a liability, because that will rub off on what you say. I have always said that those who anticipate already made homes should also be ready to pay the price. By the time the guy begins to humiliate you, change television channels, ask you questions on why this should be here, why this should not be here, why did you leave this here? And then you ask him what is this all about? And he will ask you, what did you bring into this place? I have the right. You met me here complete. So it's important that you prepare economically. As a young lady, don't let your parents talk you into spending all the money you have earned, on your siblings and the family, because a man will come and marry you, and it is a man that is supposed to get money. Don't be fooled by that. Prepare yourself. Your ability to, your financial preparation gives you a voice. Your financial preparation adds to your self-esteem. Your financial preparation, adds to the respect that you get from your husband, because you're not coming in as a liability. You're coming to the table to discuss, so that you can have a voice, you can make contribution, you can also, take care of yourself to a large extent. Because I tell people that even though the Bible says a man shall leave his wife and a father and mother, and both of them shall become one flesh does not remove or diffuse individuality. Yes, two of you have become one. However, it does not destroy your individuality. So there are things you have to do for yourself that no other person, even your husband, can do for you. Then be mentally prepared. Dr. Ennis has spoken about it. Dr. Pat said something. Dr. Eddie has, Pastor Eddie has said something about it. Look, we need to, I have discovered that the crisis we have in the society is so much dependent on the fact that we are not mentally prepared. What is God's divine purpose for marriage? What are the principles guiding marriage? You need to read your way out of ignorance. You need to have understanding. Understand that, for instance, companionship is first before procreation. If you don't understand that and clarify it, you see that some men will get married, and the moment their wives are not able to conceive the first year, they begin to misbehave. I have a couple that I canceled. I prepared for marriage. 6 months into the marriage, the wife couldn't conceive. They went to the hospital to check, and then thereafter it was found that there was an issue with her tube, and the doctor said it's 50-50. She can still conceive. The man came back home with the wife and said, I think we need to adopt. The woman said, come on, guy, it's 50-50. This is just 6 months. Let's pray to God. Let's look at have faith. The man ceased the conversation. The next move, he went and got a lady and started a extramarital relationship. Because for him, he can't wait. It is either he has a child, or he, with the wife, or he gets it from anywhere. As I'm talking to you, that marriage ended. He didn't wait for 1 year, but by the time the marriage was 1 year, 6 months, he already has a child with another woman. Excuse me. So it's important to be mentally prepared, understand the purpose of mutuality, and be prepared not just to receive love, but to give it. Understand what positive interdependence means, so that you must not always have your way. Dr. Oniri Ernest talked about the choleric personality. Some of us go into relationships and it is either what we want or not. And that is why we crash out of relationships, one relationship or the other. And then the thing is to go and marry somebody outside. Have you understood yourself to know how it works with you, how you relate? And then what does God expect from you as a husband? What does God expect from you as a wife? Why do you even want to get married? Solve that problem. Why do I want to get married? Sit down, take your paper and pen, and write down the reasons why you think you want to get married. Because some don't answer that question objectively. You don't need to be cajoled into getting married. You don't need to be frustrated into getting married. Some want to get married so that they can run away from toxic family relationships. Some want to get married because their parents are choking them. Some want to, these are no reason to get married. When that is the motivation for getting married, you're going to be a liability, going to be a problem to the other person. And that is why some glide into relationships and then they use sex to try to keep it. It won't work. It won't work. So it's important to get and understand the reasons why you want to get married. And then the emotional and psychological preparation, know your temperament. Dr. Ernest asked the question, how many of us knew our temperament before getting into marriage? Not knowing your temperament is a crisis. Deal with your anger, deal with your fear, deal with your insecurity. Dr. Pat talked about it. Deal with your poor self-esteem. Deal with your bottled emotions. Deal with all of that. Identify and deal with inherited tendencies. All of us are a product of our families. We all have baggages that we have brought from our biological families. Deal with them. Tell yourself the truth that there are things that happen in my family that are just not correct. Don't protect the things that are wrong with your family. I was counseling with a prospective couple, and something happened, and the mom of the lady said something to the guy that was not just quite good. And instead of responding in annoyance, he kept quiet. He just kept quiet because it was very nasty. He didn't want to insult the woman. And then the woman got offended that he kept quiet. And when the lady heard about it, instead of cautioning the mother for what she said that is wrong, she went and harassed the guy for keeping quiet on the mother. And that became the issue. And as I'm talking to you now, they are almost on their separate ways. So don't take after that wrong habit or culture that your family, that you have grown up with in your family. Deal with it, because if you don't deal with it, it might deal with you. Deal with negative perceptions of marriage or marital relationship. That marriage, no, I cannot take nonsense. So if I enter and it's not working, I'll just get out. I can't take shit from a woman. I can't. No, my wife cannot, challenge me. You will crash, because you're not going to marry a slave. It's not going to work. So some of these things we need to deal with, and deal with them decisively. Dr. Pat talked about conflict resolution, and I say here, develop problem-solving skills. Some of us in our families where we come from, how to solve a problem is to slap. How to solve a problem is to kick. How to solve a problem is to, once there's a problem, we insult, we embarrass, we harass. You can't carry that to somebody's to a relationship with somebody whose family, is calm, reserved, have respect for everybody. It's not going to work. But you may not know that this is what is causing you problem in every relationship. Then you want to go outside and get somebody else. No, that's a problem. So deal with those, tendencies that might constitute barrier. And let me say, deal also with your social preparations and social acceptability. Don't try to change the way your prospective spouse or your fiancé or fiancée, your friend relates, because you have come into his or her life. That's not how to relate. And coming to the aspect that Pastor D was answering before I came up, it falls under moral and spiritual preparation. You see, faith compatibility is important, but like it has all been said tonight, it is not all that there is. Sometimes people focus on matters of faith or spiritual life at the expense of all others. Yes, spirituality is important. While we are discussing this topic, why Adventist singles don't marry each other, we want you to understand that it is not just about marrying each other. It's about the various factors that even result in not marrying each other. And some of those factors may be temperament, they may be psychological, they may be emotional, they may be mental, they may be social, they may be economic. Okay, so these other factors hit on the spiritual or the faith perspective and destroys the foundation. So that you are a Seventh Adventist is not an entitlement. Because I'm a Seventh Adventist, they must come and marry me. Or because of the Seventh Adventist, I must marry a Seventh Adventist girl. I'm obligated. No, that's not the point. Yes, the Bible says that, the Bible provides a template. I shared that in our last presentation, that relationships were supposed to be based on lineage. When Cain killed Abel, Seth was born to sustain that messianic lineage. And we believe that, okay, the Israelites were also called to continue with that messianic lineage that culminated in Christ. Of course, Israel messed up and they lost the privilege. So as Seventh Adventists, we believe that we are a people called out of the world to lead others to light. So this is the foundation. This is the reason why we are doing this discussion. We are not just a church, we are a movement. We are an end-time movement. And Revelation chapter 18, verses 1 to 4, still cries out, "Come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of our sins, and that you receive not of our plates, for her sins have reached up to heaven, and God has remembered her iniquity." So come out of Babylon. But the point is that it didn't say come out of Babylon and be stagnant. It didn't say come out of Babylon and be ignorant. It didn't say come out of Babylon and be dogmatic. It didn't say come out of Babylon and become a nuisance, or come out of Babylon and become handicapped. Come out of Babylon and become a liability. That's not what it said. So we must understand our Exodus motif. We must understand our remnant ecclesiology from the perspective of the fact that God has called us as a special people who should be thoroughly equipped for good works. God has given us spiritual gifts that we may be thoroughly equipped for good works. God has given us the scriptures. When you read 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 17, verses 16 and 17, all scripture is given by the inspiration of God. It's profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for righteousness, that the man of God may be thoroughly equipped. So Adventism is not an end in itself. Being in the church is not an end in itself. We must move away from dogmatism. We must move away from ignorance and get to know why we are special and pursue excellence in every area of our lives. We must understand God's purpose for our lives. Some of us don't know. Many of us are just flowing by the tide. I was having a conversation this evening before I got here, and it's obvious that we don't know what we want. In fact, most times we focus on our wants and not our needs. And you see people misplace priorities because we don't know what we want. So who are you and whose are you? When we understand all of these basic frameworks and align with it, the question of marrying outside will be minimized. But because we don't know whom we are, we don't know whose we are, we don't know why we are here, we don't know what our destination is, then anything goes. But I tell you, if only adults and young people will understand that we are a special people, and being a special people, God has given us a present and a future eternal inheritance, that all that we need to be happy in life, He has provided, including our unique relationships with Him and with others that could culminate into marriage. So I'm saying that let's wake up as a people, as individuals that constitute that family, as Seventh Adventists. Let's wake up. Let us not judge the Adventists by mouth. Let us not just talk about Adventists because it is time for marriage. Let's not talk about Adventists because Sabbath is being discussed. Away from the Sabbath, away from marriage, who are you? How do you live? That is what will attract the other serious Adventists. If you're not a serious Adventist, you don't expect that the serious Adventists will come to you. The serious Adventists will basically look for somebody else who is serious, quote and unquote, outside, that he can align with and make something good out of it. But let me end by saying this. I may not say in all, but in majority of cases where the Israelites married from outside of that inheritance, it was not originally, I'm talking about those who eventually turned out to be good. It was circumstantial. It was circumstantial. And for each of those circumstances, for each of those permissive will of God, there were also consequences. The consequences are huge. But does it mean that all marriages that happen between Adventists and Adventists will end up well? Not necessarily. There are some that are even sorry state, in fact, predicament. Nevertheless, as we make choices concerning our eternal life, we must let thus says the Lord be our guide. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pastor. At this point, it's just to close and go home. Hey, thank you very much. Everywhere is heated up. Pastor, at this rate, we might not be having tables in our houses anymore. We're the single ones because you have broken on that table again this night. we might resort to using the floor to eat and to walk. All right. Wow. Okay. Let me just stick with the comments. I believe some of the questions you have answered directly or indirectly. And those that are yet, let's stick with questions that follow the topic of discussion today so that we'll not go far from what we're discussing. Okay, there's a question that says, can a relationship that involves sexual involvement produce something good like marriage? So can a relationship where sex is involved produce something good like marriage? Who do I throw this question to? Many more. Okay, Elder Bauer. And Elder Bauer, could you answer this? And if Elder Bauer, please, let's hear your thoughts on this. Can a relationship that's already involved with sexual activities produce something good like marriage?
Yeah, thank you very much. And to jump completely and begin to say of something of sort would be a bit presumptive, because the truth about it is that it's as good as saying that I know how the end will be from the beginning, and it can't be so certain with any human being to be able to predict what the end will be like by a single decision that one has taken, which concerns I want to believe premarital sex in this particular instance.
Yes, sir.
So it's as good as saying that I know if I go and I involve myself in this deal that is illegal, I stand all the chances that I will not get caught and I will be highly rewarded because I was able to take high risks. Now, who says that you won't be caught? Who says that there won't be issues at the end of the day? Who says these are questions that you cannot readily be able to address at the instant when you make such choices? Now, same also will go for people who may have done all the wrong things and still somehow, as Pastor said earlier, through the permissive will of God, they just seems to glide through life with all the wrong choices, and they still are able to be, say they're able to have normal lives or good things come to them and so on and so forth. But what are the guarantees? What are the chances? Because you cannot go into such association and then simply because others seems to get by it and they are successful and you also want to tag along. So you can't actually place yourself on the wrong side of life and you expect all the good things that will come through it. What if your own case turns out differently? What if the situation that plays out is not as you think it should be, or as you expect it to be. So it's more or less something that one would want to advise him or herself to make choices from the get-go that are sound, that are biblical, that are guided by godly principles. And in that, you know that even if anything goes wrong, you are right on the side of God. It's not about you, it's about probably life throws at you and so on. And to embark on a journey that you've made all the wrong choices and you only have yourself to blame ultimately. So I wouldn't want to encourage anyone to toe that path because you presume that good things can still come out of bad things. But who says that it is always going to play itself out in that particular manner? Who says? So one should be very careful. And for the sake of one's well-being, for the sake of one's eternity, and for the sake of the fact that you just want to be certain that here and now I'm right with God, then it's best you stick to his plans, which is to avoid such behavior or tendencies and simply flow with him. And he knows how best to give you the best that you seek out of any relationship. I hope I've been able to make some sense there.
Yes, you have done justice to that question. I would like at this point we'll just move to finance. Let's talk about money. There's some questions here that are talking about money, and let me read the question first. So this will guide us before we now take branch off of it. How important is financial compatibility in a relationship? So and in this relationship we are bracketing into the fact that they are Adventist partners, that is male, female, both Adventist. So what are some of the important things to look out for or look forward to, and how does that relate to financial compatibility in a relationship? The challenge of always knowing who to ask the question is always an issue. And Dr. Nes just smiled, so I think I'll just throw this to you first of all, before someone else will react to that.
Okay, so like in consistent with most of my comments, both today and the last time we were together, I think that once there are certain basics that are in place, it really, I don't see why it is some of these questions are arising because of the absence of basic understanding of the issues that really matter. And that's why when I was asked, what should we look out for? Once a human being is willing to grow, all right? Once a human being is willing to grow, it means that you are looking, there's the prospect of endless possibilities, because that growth will come with a deeper level of understanding, a deeper level of trust, a deeper level of commitment, a deeper level of, surrender, submission, show of love and affection, and all that you want to see in a family setting. Money, right? So this money thing is something that it leaves me asking, questions. The money we make, who is it actually for, right? Who is it for? Of what use is it? All right. As much as yes, by design, it is the primary responsibility of the man to provide. The social construct that we have today makes good allowance for women to exercise themselves in every form that allows them to make money too. So this issue of compatibility is all encompassing. it shouldn't just be about money, because you see, if you are, and you see, this issue usually comes most times because there is that tendency to think that the man's money is the money for the family and the woman's money is the money for the woman. And I'm wondering, which normal woman will have money in her pocket and will see the fortunes of the family going down, perhaps at a time when the man has his challenges and difficulties, and she will just look the other way. So a woman that is going to do that, you will see that something is fundamentally wrong. There are basics that were not addressed from the beginning. Because a sensible woman, all right, with the basics in place, will be able to sniff out the need to provide the needed, support when and however it and whenever it becomes necessary. So it's not really about the importance or lack of importance. It's about what is it that really matters. Okay, what is it that really matters? We are Christians, and there is always that talk of, I was watching the news, and one of the biggest boys in UK, they are the Bill Gates of UK. I think the name is Mike Lynch or so, is presumed dead as we speak. This is somebody who is worth billions of pounds, presumed dead. What killed him? What looked like a hurricane at sea in his yacht with other big friends. Some people survived, but he has not been found. Somewhere in the waters in Italy. What is going to become of all the billions that he made? All right, somebody will spend it. Some will get lost, So if we understand basics of what this life entails, and then we bring those basics into the relationship we hope to nurture with the one we love. You see, that's another thing. The one we love. How is it that you're in a relationship with the one you love, so much to the point you are married to the one you love, and then money now is what is going to come between both of you? So again, foundations. If my money is seen as my money, then something is wrong. All right? If every day I dress up, go out there, and there's money in my bank account, and there are challenges at home, and my wife has needs, and I'm scratching my head, pretending like nothing is, and then something is wrong with me, and vice versa. So when these things begin to show, they are signs that there are other things that were not properly defined, that were not there, foundations not well built, and then these things begin to show up as symptoms. So yes, there is a need for that all-roundedness, finance being part of it, but when the basics are in place, you will see that these things will just naturally find their place and will not be, this will be the least of our problems. You see, life happens. Those are some of the things that we have almost no control about. Okay, you wake up, you go to work, anything can happen while you are there. Your kids go to school, anything can happen on their way to school. Your parents can call you and they tell you that something has happened and things like that. Those are the things that, we should be more, interested in. So if these things happen, not things like this. As much as it's proven to be a big problem, I'm saying that the reason why it continues to be a big problem is that basics have not been addressed. There is a lack of understanding that makes it impossible for such individuals to experience the growth that allows them to be able to know that, you see, when it comes to finance, my money is my wife's money. She has as much right to that money as I do. It is my kids' money, and so, in fact, if I am a responsible man, it is their money first before it's even mine. For goodness sake, I have 3 children. They did not ask to be born. So what are we talking about? I should seek out what enhances their growth before I even think about myself. So not until I have sorted them out before I think of myself. To do it any other way means that I was never ready for this thing called marriage. Not to talk of my spouse and what concerns her. All right, so I think there are deeper lessons that we need to learn. So when we talk about this maturity, like Pastor has, echoed, this maturity is deep-seated. Most times we just frolic with it on the surface and then give ourselves that feel-good factor, throw our arms around somebody's daughter or son and think that we are grown up. All right. Once we do like this and we feel beards, we think that maturity has set in. There's way, way more than this thing called maturity, than these trivialities that make these issues like the one that has been asked to rear their face, and then you think that that is a real issue. That is usually never the real issue. I'll put a pause to my comments there. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ernest. My own philosophy is anytime you're talking, I just remember the book of Proverbs. Oh, you fools, oh, you fools, oh, you fools. You like digging it deep with us. Thank you very much for that. So this is a scenario now that has come up a couple of
Sorry, Patrick,
okay.
Before you leave this question, let me build on what Dr. Ernest has said.
Okay, sir.
Even when we when we get these foundations right, we must understand and appreciate our unique differences. Sometimes when we talk about money matters, there are several other intercepting factors. Let me say, a super sanguine is not at home with budget. It is not because the person don't want to budget, but because it doesn't just come. A super sanguine lives in the present. A super sanguine is a super happy person. A super sanguine, finds life outdoors. Okay, the super sanguine gets money today, and then he drives to the shopping mall and buys everything, fills the boot, and drives home. Honey, I'm back. He say, "You're back?" "Yes, I'm back." "Honey, go, honey, go." Offloads everything. At that moment when that money entered, because the super sanguine is impulsive by nature, okay, the person lives at the spot of the moment. The person has spent the money and forgotten that there are bills to be paid. And now the problem that marriages have or relationships have come from the point that opposites attract. The super sanguine may likely get married to a dominant melancholic who writes how he wants to spend his money, including how many boxes of matches he wants to buy at the end of the month. And then you get married to this super sanguine who spends the money before he or she thinks about it. How is it going to work? That's why we said, know your temperament before you get married. When you know your temperament, know what makes you behave the way you do. Then know what makes the other person you want to enter into a relationship with do what he or she does, so that you don't kill yourself. You don't attack the person, because what we do is that when we enter into these relationships, we begin to attack the person's supposed weaknesses, because we come into the relationship to change the other person, to make the person become choleric or sanguine overnight. It's not going to work. You will die out of heart attack. So before you say you want to begin a lifetime relationship with somebody, find out your temperament, what it makes you do, not just your spiritual. How does your temperament affect your emotions? Are you quick-tempered? On Saturday night, at the field at Clifford University, around 9 p.m., when the retreat has ended, a husband and a wife started a fight in the open field. I mean, open field. People, husband and wife, pastor and wife, that came for retreat, pastoral retreat, they fight in the open. And what did they fight? They were discussing, and the man was sighing. The wife said, "Why is he sighing? It's embarrassing me in the midst of everybody." Okay, she took her plate and went to get food, and then the man did not follow up on the food and all of that. So when she got the food, He came out. The man was supposed to have driven his keke to come and pick her where she gets normally, but now he did not come, and she's upset. And so she uses the hand of Gary that she collected and rubbed it on the man. And then the man walked away and said, I'm not going to marry you again. This marriage must end now. The man took his phone and called the parents. Drama. But you know what broke me to pieces is that the woman said, Pastor, it's my fault. I have quick temper. He is patient. He's too patient. Now he's not forgiving me. Temperament difference. Introverts may not respond in anger, but they are bottling up. The day they will explode, the whole Babcock may not be able to quench it. And when they say it is done, if you like, go to Jupiter and come down, they won't change it until they are ready to change it. So we must understand the differences, how it works. It also affects money management. Sometimes the melancholic or the phlegmatic person is a very stingy person that does not want to spend money and will be happy to keep waiting until you spend it. They have the money. They don't want to spend it. They wait for you because the choleric person is practical and pragmatic. They will deal with the issues, deal with it, and then when you are not coming, they criticize you, destroy you. But the phlegmatic is very, very smart and diplomatic. He will not spend the money. The melancholy will want to spend it, but he will build a castle in the head, make all the plans and budgets, run it down before he spends it. So understand how it works, then it will help in financial management. This is just to add to what Dr. Ness said, that fundamentally, Dr. Ness, I will even say that to say a woman should not see the husband suffering and then did not do anything, for me, it's not where to start. Because for me, I think that a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, they shall become one flesh, already defines financial compatibility. As part of that compatibility, oneness includes money. Oneness includes money. Because like he said, many men, many women die, with so much wasted in the bank that nobody knows where the account, severally. And I also have counseled against, not being interested in how much your husband earns, because whatever you need, he gives you. It's dangerous. Somebody may disagree with me, because imagine if your husband earns, there are people who earn up to 5 million in a month. There are people who have up to 100 million in a month. And the question is, how much do you need in a month? Your husband's asset is, let's say, let me come around here. Your husband earns 500,000 in a month, and what you basically need to survive the family in a month is 200,000. So because you get that 200,000, you're not interested in what he does with the rest of the money. The point is that the day he dies, you can't account for his income. You can't account for his asset. That's the point. You can't place your hand on it. That is why openness between both couples is the best. Openness. So that you know what I have, I know what you have, because two of us, we don't know who will die first. And if I love my wife, if I love my family, why do I have to keep some secret money, some secret somewhere that banks will smile away with? And it becomes, and then I say I love my family. What is love? Every day I come around my wife, and I have sex with her, but I have some secrets I have kept somewhere that she must not know. What is love? You have some money as a wife somewhere, you are building a house. In fact, remember the story of a woman who built a house and then persuaded the husband to come and rent the house, and then both of them lived in the house. Meanwhile, the rent comes to her. So what is love? What is love? What is love? So I think we should come to a point that self-centeredness accounts for some of these things that actually plague our relationships and leave us perpetually, in crisis. So money should not be a problem in a relationship where people understand the reason why they are entering into that relationship. like Dr. Ernest has said. I just wanted to add that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. That's so this next one is, I don't know what the first. This next question is more of a scenario-based question, and Dr. Pat, Dr. Eddie, Dr. Bauer, would like to hear your thought on this. So as young Adventist ladies back then in your prime, if you were in a relationship and let's say there's a NAS convention coming up, youth camp, ASAM meeting somewhere, are you expecting your boyfriend or one of your prospective toasters, someone that you're in the talking stage with, to pay or offer to pay for one of those camps for you so that you will attend? Were you expecting that? Did that happen? If that is to happen, what will you take? What options will you go with? So we would like to hear from the three of you. So who should go first? Okay, Dr. Pat, if you can hear me, let's hear you first of all.
Okay. This question, I really cannot relate because I grew up in a home where my dad took care of things like that, and we kind of grew up knowing that he can handle our needs because we're 6 girls in my house, and we didn't have to ask any boyfriend for anything. That's the way we were brought up. So I really cannot relate with that. But if he offers to pay, or if I ask, is that the question?
Yes. What are you expecting him to just pay without you asking, or you feel there's a need to ask?
Okay, I'm not expecting anything, actually. Like I said, my father put this, he made us very independent, right? So most of the boyfriends that I had didn't really have to take care of, my needs or things like that, pick up my bills, because I grew up with a sense of independence. And even in marriage, sometimes I, have this independent spirit, and I have to remind myself that my husband is here and he's actually willing. You get? So I don't think, what I would just want to say is, don't expect people, or don't expect the man to take care of things like that. I mean, it's not his responsibility as far as I'm concerned. If you want to go for youth camp, pay for youth camp. If he says, okay, I'm going to pay for you, I want to pay for you. For me, I would ask you, why do you want to pay for me? Is it because when we get there, you want to be the only person that I am spending time with? Or you want to constantly remind me that you paid, and so that's why I'm there? Do you understand what I'm saying? So for me, if I can afford it, I will take care of it myself. Don't put yourself in a situation whereby I don't sell yourself cheap. That's what I would just say. Don't sell yourself cheap. If there are things you can do for yourself, please do it for yourself. He's a boyfriend. He's not your father. He's not your husband yet. Right? So it comes with, there is respect when you're not dependent on a man for everything and every little thing. I mean, how much would youth camp cost? It might not cost up to 10,000, maybe 6,000. If you can afford it, please afford it. If you can't afford it, are there people in your family that you can ask? Can you ask your parents? Can you ask your siblings? I want to go for this camp. Can you please sponsor me? Because when you get to that camp, you don't want to be constantly reminded that you're there because someone brought you there. So I'll rather say, right, preserve your own dignity, respect yourself, take care of things that a boyfriend should not be taking care of. He's not your father, he's not your brother, he's not your husband. That's not his responsibility. And even when people give free gifts, they always say there's no free food in Freetown, right? You need to dig deep to find out the motive for that. So that's just my own response.
Okay, you even preempted my next question. That's lovely. So,
Patrick,
yes, sir.
don't let Dr. Pat go like this, because I won't let her go like this because, you know, one of the issues we have struggled on this platform is the fact that Dr. Pat, we hear this kind of slang. How can he be in a relationship with me? He cannot take care of me.
Exactly. That's
You know, how is he not supposed to? Doesn't he know that he's supposed to pay for me? And now you are coming to say he shouldn't pay. He should take care of yourself. He's not your father. So how do we reconcile this with the fact that the moment two people are in a relationship, because I canceled a prospective couple, that relationship actually ended. And you know what ended it was that the guy had just come out of a relationship where the lady expected that once they started a relationship that he should be giving her monthly, you know, stipend, amount of money to take care of herself, because now you're in a relationship, you should take care of me. And the guy was able to give what he could give based on how much he earned and other vis-a-vis other responsibilities. And so the lady was not satisfied with how much he was given, and the relationship ended. Both of them Adventists. So the lady walked away. Now he started another relationship and said because of his experience in the previous one, he is not going to give money to this lady. If the lady wants to love him for whom he is, then let that be. Otherwise, he's not going to start giving somebody money, and then if the month he does not give, it becomes an issue. And then from the other side, we had a lady who is in that relationship, and for her, receiving gifts is her dominant language. And she said, she talked with me privately, Pastor, if this guy loves me, then he should give me gifts, because that is the point of connection. Okay, that's the point of connection. So if he's not giving me gift, then how do I know that he loves me? And I can tell you that was the only reason why the relationship ended. So how do you help us, Dr. Pat, settle this kind of you know, situation?
Okay, thank you, Pastor Dixon. All right.
I'm
I
sorry
think
for
that
stopping
the
for you.
problems that we have is the orientation that you know we have, and the exposure that some of our young people now have. The truth of the matter is, if you're in a relationship with somebody, the person is not automatically supposed to be responsible for all your bills. That's that. As far as I'm concerned, there is a problem with that. It's not normal. This person is not married to you yet. You're dating the person. If the person decides to give you gifts, that's fine. Okay, if I'm dating someone and you know that I like I talk about things that I like, you decide to buy it for me, that's okay. But when it now becomes your responsibility, and when it is every and anything that I just expect that you do, if I have two boys, and these are the kind of things I will tell them to be careful about. It is not your job, it's not your role. Okay, so I think that this is just, the society has turned it into a give and take kind of thing now, where relationships are not, it's not about, we're not learning about each other, we're not helping each other grow. It's all about, you haven't bought me things and all. That is not a relationship, as far as I am concerned. You should be responsible for certain things. You have a family, you come from somewhere. There are people in your family that can take care of certain things. And then you also need to be considerate, right? What is his, you're dating someone, youth camp age is usually teenagers, people in college and all of that. What is he doing for money that you expect him to take care of your bills? All right, so you get to the youth camp, you're expecting to give you pocket money for the youth camp too? I mean, I just think that there's a problem with that. And I'm talking from my own personality. I have a strong personality. I'm a very independent person. And I don't believe in being dependent on people for things that I think are my responsibilities. I don't also think that this is not pride now, because there's always this misconception that people who are independent are proud. No, that's not pride. This is me being considerate as well. So for me, if you say, okay, oh, my love language is when you buy me gifts, okay, tell the guy from the beginning, right? Let him buy you gift, but don't make it an issue when he cannot afford it. So it's like, you've not given me anything now. That's the problem. That's an issue because he's not giving you all the time. Don't also put responsibilities on him that are not his. Someone who is not married to you should not be responsible for picking up all your bills, right? If you say, I want to go to this camp and I don't have enough money, can you support me? It's different. But don't say you have to pay for me so that I'll go there. And like I said, even when the person says, I'm going to pay for you, the kind of person that I am, I'm going to want to find out why you want to pay for me. Because you're not saying, can you afford to pay for the camp and be there? You want to gift me, that attendance. I would ask you why. I can take care of it myself. All right. So this is me from this is me just saying that my own personality, and based on what I consider to be a man's responsibility in a relationship, it is not his responsibility to pick up all the bills for you. He can do things for you when he wants to, right? But it shouldn't be an issue when he's not able to, and you shouldn't make it his responsibility. Because let me tell you something about ladies. We're asking you, the guy. We're asking our fathers too. We're asking our big brothers. We're asking our uncles. The same thing.
Hell.
Yes, that is it. We're asking everybody. So, I mean, we should just, these for me, in relationships, these are not the things, really. These are not the things, okay? There are certain responsibilities that people, that you can take care of, your family can take care of. Do not push it to a boyfriend, okay? That's just me. That's what I have to say.
Thank you very much, Ma. Dr. Eddie?
Okay. So I'm just listening to Dr. Pat, and I'm like, wow. Okay, because I really do dislike it when ladies come up with this entitlement attitude. They're in a relationship with a guy, and then they feel that the guy should be responsible for things for them. I mean, it's just being silly. I'm sorry for my choice of word, but I just think that any lady that chose that route is just selling herself so cheap. Today I read on someone's status about this girl came up and then she made a comment. She said, oh, I remember Valentine 2018, 15 of us were in a room, and that very day we were all waiting and none of our guys brought any gift to us. And then she now went on to say, oh, but one of the ladies upstairs had pity on us, and then she brought one of the hampers that she got and came to share with us. But 15 of us, even though about 8 of us had boyfriends, nobody got a gift. And then someone asked her a question. So how many of you, 15 of you, how many of you actually thought about giving your guy a gift? And there was silence in the room. You see, most of the time, ladies sit down and then wait for the guys to be the givers while they keep receiving. Why would your love language be gift receiving? What are you giving to the guy? I want to go for camp meeting, and then I expect that my boyfriend, in fact, my boyfriend is not expected to pick up any of my bills. It's not his responsibility. It's possible that when we go out together, and that's why for me, when I say, what are the things you look out for? I look out for, to be able to speak, be able to talk, relate truly with the guy that I'm going out with. So we talk, if we are going to share bills, if we are going to, do things together, I should be able to say it. You don't have to pick up any of my bills. You're not my husband. And so if I'm preparing to go for a camp meeting and I'm waiting for my boyfriend, in fact, one girl put on her status that if you have a boyfriend and your father is still paying your school fees, then you don't have a boyfriend. Imagine the audacity. And then a guy now responded and said, okay, if you have a father and your boyfriend is paying your school fees, then you don't have a father. And so girls come up with this entitlement attitude and then begin to put unnecessary pressures on guys. And I don't blame them. The people that I blame are the guys that will fall for such cheap tricks. Because if you have someone who is a girl, you're dating a girl, and then she begins to put unnecessary pressure on you to say, oh, you're the one that should pick up my bills, you're the one that should be taking care of me. What are you doing to also take care of the guys? And that's why you see during Valentine, whatever celebrations that guys, girls have, you see the girls waiting in their hostels for the guys to bring cakes to them, and they give the guys nothing. And then the next Valentine, the guys will also be looking for something to do to pacify the girl. You are in trouble, because when you get into a relationship with that kind of girl, then you are heading for big time disaster. She's going to keep asking and asking and asking and frustrating you. And I heard a story. This one is life story about one student on campus who took his school fees, about 700,000, go and waste on a girl, in the name of Valentine. How many days after, the girl dumped him? And guess what she got in return for all that he spent? Nothing. And so if you're a guy and you're saying that, then it's a red flag. We have different love languages, but if you are going to be receiving, then you should also be a giver. And then don't put unnecessary pressure on someone just because you feel that you're in a relationship, not even a marital relationship, boyfriend, and then you expect the person to come and be giving you things. And beyond the gift, okay, if he gives you something, then you must also give him something in return. You must also give him something in return. And so if he's giving you paying for your camp meeting, then of course you know that when you get to that camp meeting, you're going to do something for him. If he's paying your bills, he's doing anything for you, then you know that there's something you must also do in return, because there must be something you are giving. And so my problem is actually the fact that most girls have this entitlement attitude. And trust me, just like Dr. Pat has said, it is so irritating. And so we need to step up. There was a time we had this kind of meeting, and I think I voiced out my opinion during that meeting to say that I even hate it to the point of hating bride price. I hate it that much. Where pressures are mounted on guys in the name of taking care of the lady. If a guy has to come and pay bride price on top of my head just because I come from a family, my father took care of me. So what happened to the guy? Did he fall from a tree? Wasn't he taken care of by his family? So why would the family of the boy be the one to come and be paying the bride? In fact, one lady told me, they must pay something on my head, though. If he wants to come and marry me, must pay something on my head, though. As if the guy came up from nowhere and just came to marry him. When I was getting married, I approached my father and I told him, I said, you're not going to use bride price or whatever to chase the man that has come for me away. I wouldn't take that. And so I think society has made it giving girls so much silly ideas to feel that they are entitled to be receiving things from a guy who is not even yet their husband. Even when he is your husband, you don't put unnecessary pressure on him. If he doesn't have, he doesn't have. And so if you don't learn it before getting into the relationship, then it means you're going to become, a burden on the guy. One girl said, I told this guy to take me to this choice restaurant. And the guy said, let's wait until month end. Are you kidding me? And then she came out online to come and start making fun of the guy. That imagine me asking that this guy should take me somewhere and he's waiting for a month and this guy cannot take care of me. Are you kidding me? Why don't you also pay? If you want to go out with him to that particular restaurant, the guy is hustling for his money. And then you are coming, you're entitled to spend. You don't want to spend anything. You should be the one to take you to that restaurant and spend all the money on you. I don't think that kind of attitude should be found amongst us. As a Christian young lady, just respect yourself. Don't ask unnecessarily for things that you're not entitled to. I don't know. For me, this is actually I find this kind of attitude actually very annoying. When a girl feels that she's entitled to certain things just because a guy is dating her, or because, you're my boyfriend, then it means that you must be carrying all my bills. In my secondary school, a girl actually gave a guy a list. If you're going to befriend me, these are the things you have to give to me. Oh my God. Now, sometimes I think we just embarrass ourselves unnecessarily. And so for me, it's a give and take thing. If I'm giving, you must also be giving. I'm not supposed to be waiting for the guy to come and be giving and giving, and then I don't give anything in return. Maybe just like Pat said, I'm a very self-dependent person. And so I like to take care of myself. And if I can afford it, I go for it. If I cannot afford it, I don't put unnecessary pressure on anyone. And not to talk of a boyfriend. I think that phrase, the person that asked the question probably should have said my husband. It would have even sounded better. But to say a boyfriend, maybe it's just a scenario, trying to paint a scenario of the extent to which a guy should be able to take care of a girl. But seriously, if you know any girl that has that kind of mentality, please talk to the person, because the person might actually be driving a very good husband material away just by asking unnecessarily for things that he should not be doing. For me, it's like someone has said here, it might be a very dangerous red flag. Run away from something. Oh, thank you. I hope I didn't take this very personal, because for me, it's something that I actually dislike seriously.
Thank you very much, ma. You have succeeded in breaking the last leg of the table that the girls were standing on. Dr. Bauer, anything to say?
Antodak, you took it very personal. Very personal.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
The first person said she should not expect that the man should buy, the guy should buy things for her all the time, as in, but yours is like at all. I believe I believe the two speakers have answered this question. And I want to pick it up from the point where Tudor said, I think the major problem will be with that guy who actually falls for this scam. Lately, I've had a friend who finally discovered what true love is. It goes back to the first question we started off with in this discussion. Why do we go into a relationship? Am I in a relationship for the right reason? The society, the world, the films we watch has mixed our brains, and the young ladies, especially the ones who are unlucky, unfortunate to come from backgrounds where that self-respect, self-worth, self-dignity, self-esteem to a very good extent has not been built, has not been laid. And so all they see is they just sit and cross their legs and wait for one man to tell you, my Lord, it's time for you to stand up in the morning or something, I don't know. But it's unfortunate for a guy who falls for this. That's what I would just say. You, as guys, I want to leave those girls alone now, because for them, I pray God ministers to them. For you as a guy, if that is your own definition of love, then it is also wrong. It's also faulty. It means you are the one who will train such young ladies in the future who will continue this generation of people waiting for others to pick up their bills. I know what's more annoying is when the bills go beyond even them. They now start demanding that you pick up bills for their family, extended and nuclear and worldwide, simply because you say you intend to marry the person, or you are, for some there's even no marriage in view, just because you are dating me. I think it's very wrong. And for Christian women, it's even super wrong. So please give yourself some self-worth, give yourself some self-esteem. What you want from a guy, okay, you should be able to give to him. There's nothing wrong if I buy my boyfriend, in quotes, or my husband a gift. It doesn't have to be his birthday. It doesn't have to be because it's Valentine. It's just because he's my husband, so I buy him a gift because I feel like buying him a gift. The same thing when you're dating someone. You shouldn't wait until it is a special time. Show that you are a giver and give naturally, because that's who you are, and it will attract the person giving. If we want to relate it back to the story Pastor Dixon gave us, and the lady who says that is her love language, well, that has been treated. But I just want to add that if that is your love language, then start by showing it. If you find it not okay, comfortable that this guy is not giving you anything, you don't know where he's coming from, you don't know what has happened to him in the past, why don't you start by being the one giving him? Buy him gifts when he doesn't even expect it, and on and on. It will make him begin to see who you really are. So instead of sit by and watch and wonder why he's not, answering your call in terms of speaking your love language, then you show that love language. And the guy will begin to see it. Like I said before, I have a friend who just suddenly discovered what true love is. Some of these guys have been messed up, they haven't known that it can be better. They have not seen a woman of virtue, a woman who has self-esteem and self-worth. They have been through so much. And so even as Adventists, and that's what part of what pushes them out. So you dare to be the difference. You dare to be that sign, that good thing. So that when he sees that, wait, I'm coming out from where I was the giver. And when I don't give, it becomes a problem. And I'm here. And this lady just keeps giving me, even when I vowed I will not give. Because he's naturally a giver, he will click. He will click with you as you connect fast. He will forget when he promised himself never to give any lady anything again, and on and on. So be the positive vibe. Be the positive vibe. Don't go into a relationship waiting or expecting that he will pick up your bills. It is wrong that you even have that expectation in the first place. Then it is even worse that you can even open your mouth and say, you must pick up my bills. And I know I've seen cases where they say, not just my own bills, my family, my mother, my brother, my grandchildren, pick up their bills because you are married. No, or because you're in a relationship. No. So please, let's have some self-esteem as ladies. Let's develop ourselves. That's why we need to develop ourselves. And that brings us to one of the points I read on the chat, that should we actually go into a relationship because of what we think we will get? Let's not deceive ourselves, though. First of all, even when we talk about the issue of marrying an Adventist or not, you are going into that relationship because of what you think you will get. What is it? Life eternal. So there are some things you will get. Yes, I know the person may be asking from the point of, a selfish getting and all. Maybe this person can bring money. I can be rich through this person, or I can have connection to this person. That may be it. But I want to look at it from another side. that yes, we all go into relationships that should be good, that should add value to us. Okay, that should be the purpose. And which is the purpose anyway? That's why we are even here talking in the first place, because we want to encourage ourselves to go into relationships that add value. So the question goes back again, like has been said by Dr. Ennis earlier, am I bringing that value? Am I, if the like trying to use his words, that if you're the only one in the room, can you stay with yourself? Are you making, can you take this, what you are giving to another person, can you take it? So that's where I would draw, I'm just trying to link these three things together in terms of why are we going to relationship in the first place. Lady, please don't expect your boyfriend to be paying your bills. And yes, go into a relationship because of what you will get, and that what you will get, the major answer to that is that you are getting life eternal. This person is capable of holding my hands and walking this journey of life to eternity. And like has been said before, the spiritual, very key, the foundation. Like Pastor said, when the other things are not okay, that Dr. Pat mentioned, they come crashing on that spiritual foundation and they break them. So what are those other things? Do we have goals? Do we have a plan? Are we seeing ourselves work in the next 2, 3, 4 years? What's our plan? Where do we want to be? We may not be able to, we may think we are building castles in the air, but we are actually staring, Bible says, if two will agree on anything, it will be done to them. So let the person be someone who has a plan, has a goal, has potential. That is still getting married to someone who adds value to you. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much. This is fire. I can see two hands. Okay, let me take the hands before I go to the next thought. Pastor Eddie. Okay, I'm sorry, Pastor Eddie. Let Blessing go first before Pastor Eddie comes up. So Blessing, please, the floor is yours.
Okay,
Blessing.
thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yeah, can you hear me? Good evening, everyone.
Yeah, we can hear loud and clear.
Okay, mine is a question. I initially typed it. My network is very unstable, so I think it disappeared. So my question is actually directed to Dr. Mrs. Ediewo, because when she was talking, she made some statements that I want clarification on. And she talked about the bride price aspect. And then I want clarification on that aspect based on, are we saying that we should stop men from paying bride price, which has been a tradition that we've known, it has been an African tradition from time immemorial, or we're saying that there are some unnecessary demands that are made to milk money out of the man by our families that we're supposed to speak on, and then see that our family cuts down some of those demands, or we are totally shoving out paying of bride price. That's the clarification I want.
Okay, Dr. Eddie, could you react before your husband?
Okay, bride price. All right. So like I said, when I was planning to get married, that was one of the things that actually interested me. And then she has said something, that has been a problem to me so much. The fact that, one, there are unnecessary expenditures, that are being placed on the head of the guy in the name of getting a girl. When I was in secondary school, now this is how the whole thing started. When I was in secondary school, I had this friend. We got talking one day, and then he made mention of the fact that he has a sister, and the sister-in-law, and that the brother doesn't allow the family of the girl to come near him at all, near her at all. And why is that? What happened? And I went on to relate this story of during the marriage, the guy was made to pay so much, all his money, everything. And this guy never stood up to defend him. He was just kept spending and spending and spending. And then he now said, okay, fine, no problem. The moment we get back to the house, just say bye-bye to your family, because you're not going to have anything to do with them again. And then personally also, I started doing some, I'm not a theologian, but I like to read about things like this. I started reading about this bride price thing. How did it even start? And I had a talk with my dad when I was planning to get married. So I want to know, I've not really gotten an answer to this question. I want to know, so how did this bride price thing start and all of that? And then he took me back to the story of Abraham in the Bible. That when Abraham was going to ask for wife for his son, that he sent gifts. I said, but those were voluntary gifts. It wasn't a situation where families came together, people you have never known your whole life, people that have never contributed anything to your well-being, people that have never paid a kobo about your upbringing or done anything, come and sit down and then come up with this ridiculous list about what a guy should give. And then he said, because the girl was trained by the father, the parents, and they paid so much to get the girl ready, and then the man is just coming. So how about the guy? Wasn't he trained? And so if the girl is going to pay, then the guy should also, if the guy is going to pay, then the guy should also be paid pay for the guy. But that's my position, my personal opinion about bride price. I don't like it. Okay. And then you have also said that it is a tradition. Who started it? Where did it come from? My daddy told me it came from the Bible, and then he mentioned Abraham. Abraham did not send a list. He sent voluntary gifts to the family. It was an initiative from him, not that the family of the girl sat down and came up with a gift, with a list, to say these are the things that you should give to me because you're coming to pick my daughter. My own argument is, if you're saying that the parent of the girl trained the girl, and so you should pay for, because that means you're buying a commodity. That's just how I see it. And I'm sorry, like I said, maybe I'm taking it personal, but I find it very irritating, And so I just feel that for me, bride price is one of the things that society has used to destroy the foundation of marriages and also to extort money from people. People have gone, and then because of bride price, they'll take their family members and then leave and say, okay, no, I'm not willing to do this anymore. And then I met a girl, we were just talking, and she confessed. She said that at a point she became afraid because of the things, the demands her family were making from the guy, that she even felt at a point that the guy was just going to stand up and then get frustrated and leave because they kept asking and asking and asking. And so sometimes you see people who are willing to get married, but because of the fear of bride price, they don't. My husband went somewhere to, for this traditional rite something, and he made a statement. He said, when you see two responsible people coming together to say we are ready to get married, most people will use bride price to discourage them from doing this. But if the girl goes and gets pregnant for this same guy, the family of the girl will be begging the guy to come and take her. But when they want to do it the right way, they come and burden them with all sorts of requests, all sorts of demands. You see lists, and then you see things for great-grandfather, sopas for great-grandmother, panties for... Don't they have pants? Don't they have sopas? Why must it be because someone is getting married, then you begin to buy all those things? And so for me, I just feel that it is something that if I had my way to be completely discontinued, it will not continue. If someone is coming into your family, and then there is need for exchange of gifts, let it be voluntary. Not for you to burden people with bride price, with a list and all sorts of things. So you have rightly said, the thing that really gets me pissed off is the fact that there are unnecessary expenses that are laid on the head of the guy. And, when Pastor was talking, one of the things Pastor and Dr. Ernest, said something that really made my day this evening. One pastor said, don't just expect that the guy that should carry the financial burden of the family. That was also collaborated by Dr. Ernest, because sometimes the ladies feel that, oh, don't worry, my guy is going to take care of me, right? So it is, for me, it's a give and take thing. Relationship, it's difficult enough, even when you meet someone that you're married, but when the foundation is not done properly, I just feel that it is, for me, bride price, all these bridal lists, all these things, for me, I just feel that it is one of those. So I am saying that I dislike the entitlement attitude up to the point of disliking bride price, because it is still something that seems to show that there is something that a lady is entitled to just because she is female. So come and pay for her before taking her to your house. So that's just my something that I don't really like. Okay, it's a tradition, and traditions are, I mean, things that are put down by people that have died years ago just to be burdened by people in the modern generation. So it can be stopped. Thank you.
Yeah, I hope you get stopped on time so that we'll know what we're doing.
Patrick, it's obvious that the women are on rampage this night.
Pastor Eddie, please. Pastor Eddie.
All right. Now, you see, I think we're about 82 connected to this platform this evening. And I know that more than 80% of the people here are single people. Now, my question, is it possible to hear from these single people, share their experiences about this billing? Billing is a serious matter, because okay, let me think like a man. If a man knows that your play, if a man knows that your language is give me money, give me money, give me money, men will give you money. They will. But as they give this money to you, they become intentional about making demands from you that your hands will be tied. They will make sure they dehumanize you because they have invested this money in you. You have sold your dignity, maybe just for a piece of a device, maybe an iPhone or something. You have sold your dignity, and now you cannot restrain him. You cannot stop him. You cannot caution him. He comes out complete because there is a return of investment. He will not be careful about what he does with you. And so experimentation will happen with your body. Normally, the kinds of things you may not accept to become part of your body, or the experiences you may not want, you will have them. You will have them. But the other side of the coin is this. If you are like the ladies that have spoken this evening, they are clearly ladies that men will not mess around with. And I'll tell you why. They are self-dependent. They understand their self-worth because they are not billing the man. The man is also careful what he requests, the kinds of things he wants to ask. All right? Because you have not collected anything from, or you don't put him in a place where he feels he can buy you off as an article and keep you in his shelf like one sex doll. You know, there's nothing he can do with you but respect you and respect your position until either the relationship is consummated or you people decide to go your way. So I am thinking that young men who are in this platform this evening should tell us what they feel or think, what they do when they meet young women whose love language is money. And then young women should also tell us their own experiences, because if they know, one of the things we'll leave here with is that the young man will be fortified as he goes back to his world. The young woman will be fortified as she goes back to her world. I don't know if that is doable. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Pastor Eddie. That is doable, but okay. Let's see. And if you have anything you want to quickly say, just raise your hand. You get the floor. Billers and billboards, those that have been billed and those that are doing the billing. Hey, all of it, they are shy now, but they are keyboard warriors, but they are not voiceful people. So okay, as you are still trying to make up your mind to speak, just let us know. Just let us know. Another question to. Okay, there's a hand up. All right. Maker, if I murdered your name, please. Your hands are coming up now. Yes, let's have it.
Okay, good evening, sir. I don't know if you are hearing me.
Loud and clear.
Okay, my name is Omeka. So, okay, concerning billing, okay, I studied at Bangkok University. There was this lady, I loved her, so I approached her, offer, "Babe, can I get to know you?" So we started like with the cast for a few days. So I now asked her, "So what will I tell you now that another man have not said to you before?" Say, "Okay, you can just tell me what is my dream car, babe, pack your things. Let's go for Paris for shopping. Let's go for vacation. The kind of car he mentioned. When I got home, I have to Google this car. Benz, something, something, something. The car is 600 million. And I came back the following day and asked this same young lady, please, is your dad driving this kind of car? I was like, no, my dad is just driving Coroland. So why believe me? Say, well, those are the kind of things, those are the kind of lifestyle that I just want to marry one rich man. I don't want to stress myself and be a housewife, So I just have like detached from that. So that was my experience, and that is what I want to share.
Nice, nice, nice. Let's share our billboards and billing. Yeah, I think the next episode should be all about billboards. So let's go. We have time is fast spent, but we'll take as much as we can. Who else wants to speak? Gioni P15 Pro. Okay, I can also say Samuel David.
All right, good evening, everyone. Can you
Yeah,
hear me?
good evening.
I'm from Ijebode district.
Okay,
And I
go
want
ahead.
to talk about mostly one thing that some ladies don't know is the way they present themselves to guys, is the way the guys will take them. Because if a lady is like billing a guy all the time, like you can't do without billing the guy, like you like dating the guy, not on the guy to your father or whatever. The guy will also treat you like as if he's the one that owns you. Because I also come across one comedy by Mike Angel. So he was asking the man asked Mike Angel that, are you the man that wants to marry my daughter? Mike Angel said that yes. So the man looking at Mike Angel that the Mike Angel is not coming from a good family. Now say, but I don't want my daughter to end up living with irresponsible man. Mike Angel replies to him that that's the reason why I want to take her away from you. So the man was like, sure. One thing these ladies from now, they don't understand that the way you present yourself to guys is the way they will take you. Because if you are the type that bill your guys too much, the guy will see you as a hookup girl and he will deal with you anyhow. That's one thing they don't know. So ladies out there should just try and know that babes also, even though you cannot help financially, your advice, your prayer, your conversation matters a lot. And to be sincere, that's what I'm battling with right now in my relationship. That's what I'm battling with. So let the ladies out there to try and know that not every time they be asking the guy, always like everything to do on the guy. The guy also has family to take care of. The sisters, the mother is still there before meeting the lady. So that is my own opinion. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Let's share the bill as well. So ladies, everybody, just feel free to speak. Okay, Jane, Jane, please, you can speak. Floor is yours.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
All right. Thank you, sir. In fact, I am so happy to be part of this discussion this night. The fact that the ladies ask from the guys and at the end of the day, belittling themselves or demoralizing, I don't know how to put it, is 100% accurate. Just of recent, there's this guy that I can say is my friend. Before now, even when I don't ask, he will give me. And I just said, okay, I need money. The next thing, what do you want to use the money for? He has never asked such question before. He was like, before something like this will happen, there must be a connection, like the relationship would have grown to an extent before you can ask for money and the money will just be given to you just like that. And I was like, wow. So before I can get money from you, there should be a kind of bond, not just give a friend money just like that. And that question, what do you want to use the money for, got me angry that I said, don't worry, I'll be fine. And I didn't collect that money from him. It made me to feel like, that means collecting money from someone will make, in fact, the respect will not be there again. So it's better as a young girl, just like we have learned this night, be happy with whatever you are doing, equip yourself, have your own money. If you want to give, you fine. If you don't want to give, you fine. Instead of asking, because as I am, I can never ask again. If before I can receive, I have to say what I want to use the money and do. No, I can't do that. How will I be listing what I want to use the money before you can give? That means you don't want to give. Please, I just want us to learn this lesson. Let them give if they want to give. If they don't want to give, very good. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. Journey P15, are you ready to speak now? If you have spoken, you can bring down your hand so that we'll know those that we have. Okay, Lawrence Okori. Lawrence Okori.
Patrick, I think Jen has not spoken. It is actually the journey that spoke. So Jen's hand is up.
Okay, Jen. Sorry about that.
All right.
Jen.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I want to appreciate all that spoken. We've all spoken well. And for me, I have a concern, and just like Dr. Eddie was talking regarding the bride price thing, and is being directed to the Pastor Dixon. Over time, I'm seeing where traditional are being held. Even when I did experience with the bride pricing and all, it's something that wouldn't make you happy with what all those mala and all those traditional are demanding from the groom who is coming to marry. And also problem where you know that the parent of the bride is also not helping matters. I've seen in a situation where some ladies will say when they're getting married, they were scared because they felt the man would run away because of the kind of list they brought. Situation where young men will run for their life, only seeing the kind of list they are for them to pay in order to marry a bride, which is something that calls for concern. Now, my question is, what does the church has to play in regards to this bride price thing? Is there that the church can do to help in order that these our parents, also those traditional villagers or amapu, to be able to help curb or control the kind of outrageous things they bring? Because you will check in the church today, you see so many young who are right age, but because they don't have that kind of money to take the step, you see them withdrawing. And a lot of ladies too who would like to be married end up remaining single when they come and the suitor sees the kind of bride they are bringing, they end up running away. What can the church do to help in this kind of situation? Pastor, over to you, sir.
Okay, Pastor has noted that down. He would answer that, but let's just quickly take the hands that are up. 10, TEN. Lawrence, and okay, Blessing. This you want to speak. If you are so those are the 3 hands you have now. Okay, TN, please go on. 10 TN. Okay, not speaking. Lawrence. Lawrence.
All right, yeah, I'm there. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Okay, I want to thank God for the opportunity and the organizers of this program. Truly, I'm happy I didn't miss that. I also want to send a greeting to my two leaders, Pastor AD and Pastor Dixon, whom I will know for long. And the two speakers, the other lady that contributed before the last speaker, I think she just reminded me that part of the problem we have with our ladies is their ideology, their mentality, and their mode of reasoning. A guy who is just a friend to you ask you, what do you want to use this money for? He has been doing this for you for long. What do you want to use this money for? Does the father not ask what do you want to use money for? And you got angry. That particular word, anger, also seems to be one of the problems we have with them. Someone is just trying to help. To me, I don't see it as a bad thing to help a lady. And even to the way I was trained in my family, I was told that do it just as a part of the friendship, but don't do it as a burden. But in case there's any reason tomorrow, you wouldn't feel the pain. And that is why you can't tell me, Mr. Possibly tomorrow we have an issue, and then now we feel bad or say you have done, you have eaten everything about me and you just did this ego. No. I want to advise my fellow young guys to desist from this now. Stop helping a lady because she is, or you have a plan to marry her, or she's your girl, because the type of ideology they have, I think this program is part of the reason to send us forth to the future. We have a problem with ideology. This personal thing of, yes, he has to do it after he is my guy. Many things have been said here. Many things have been said here. I just pray that this program continues so that it will help us to change our ideology. I have to stress on that. Many things we are falling part of. Many things. This mentality of you have to do this for me, you have to do it for me. You, what are you bringing to the table? There's some guys that will even just want to do it voluntarily, happily, and comfortably. But you keep stressing the guy, you keep nagging, you keep complaining, even in terms of this type of this issue of communication. Some of us have this issue because the guy will keep complaining, you didn't call me, you didn't this. Some of them will even say in quotes, because he has it that you need to call me as a lady. So the guy doesn't have this just like this Dr. This said. So the guy himself was not born for a bad person. He doesn't need that love and care too. If you do this to the guy, will anything happen to you? Will anything happen to you? Then the issue of that part, just like the last speaker said, we need to bring this to the church. The church needs to stress more on it. The church needs to stress more on it now. Pastor I am here, work with the union. The secretary one day was looking at him and he said, one of the best things that stressing me that a particular family, the father called the man and said, give me what you have as what you can afford for the marriage. Leave the rest. And that day they came, the man collected what he can collect from the son-in-law. He said, go with your wife. I will take care of my investment. And I think the woman must have done a lot of work, and the church must have done a lot of, and the man himself must have also done a lot of work by accepting to make life easier. And at the end, I think from the end of the story, the father-in-law now benefited later out of it now without any stress. You help someone today, the person will help you tomorrow. Women and our fathers should stop stressing the young men so that they will not see it as a burden. The list is becoming too much. I think I have to stop here, but next time we need to this. There are a lot of things we need to say, but just help us to stress it out. We need this ideology to be changed.
Yeah, thank you very much. Time is not our friend once again. I can still see hands. Pastor, what do we do? Okay. If you have not spoken, let's hear those that Samuel, David, I believe you have spoken before. You can just send what you have in the chat section. Miracle, are you with us? Casey, Henry, TN10. Some people are still raising up their hands. Okay, Miracle, let's hear you quickly. In less than a minute, please.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Can you all hear me? All right,
Yeah,
so
I can hear you.
I'm sorry I came into this meeting late. But I've been hearing all the things you guys have been saying, and then I'm like, okay, probably I need to ask a question. Are you saying that guys are not supposed to at least show a level of commitment by at least, okay, babe, take this out of their kindness, or they should not at all? I don't understand. I just want to understand, actually. That's just my question.
Out of their kindness, do what? Maybe come out clearly.
Sir?
I like you to come out clearly. They should not, out of their kindness, do what?
Like, I'm talking about, I can't really say paying bills, but at least giving the girls something, probably, oh, you are hungry, all right, let me send you this to eat, or probably just, this girl is really in need of this thing. It's not like as if the girl just wakes up one day and just start billing them, oh, babe, I want to make my hair, babe, I want to buy a wig, babe. But you know that this girl really needs this thing. Is it bad if the guy can help out and say, okay, let me just sort this one for you? At least he has it. So is it bad they can actually do something for the ladies too?
Okay, I think so we can quickly leave because time is running out. If you have been following the discussion from the three people that answered that question, you would have heard clearly that none of them said that a guy cannot help. Okay, somebody dropped in the comment section that if a guy opts to help his lady, then the lady is not being dependent on the guy. And I said the emphasis is on the word opt. Okay, so when you willingly decide to help someone, there's no problem with that. What we are speaking against is the fact that some ladies exhibit some entitlement attitude. Oh, because you are my boyfriend, then it is your responsibility to carry all my bills. That's what we are discouraging. Okay, a man that is not your husband should not bear such responsibility. That's my own perspective. And so if you're going out with a guy and the guy really sees that you have a need, he wouldn't even wait for you to ask. He would give you, he would help. Okay, he should help. The same thing goes for the ladies. If you're with a guy and you see that this guy is really in need, you don't say because he's a guy and it's not my responsibility to help him. So we're saying it's a two-way thing. If he can help, you can also help. So don't say because I'm female, so it is my right to be collecting and collecting and collecting. For me, that's just what I'm just trying to discourage. Nobody has said that a guy should not help. I mean, if somebody decides to give me money now, why wouldn't I collect? Okay. But I'm saying that I shouldn't become a burden on my boyfriend. Emphasis on the word boyfriend. I shouldn't become a burden on him. And like Mommy J said, Some will even say, look, it goes beyond myself. You have to take care of my family too. And my mommy needs you. One girl told the guy, said, well, let's just start. You buy, and I'll give my phone to my mom. You have to buy me the new iPhone. And I don't know. Don't. I hope we understand ourselves so that we don't take the discussion out of the context that we are discussing. So this is a situation where someone who is your friend is being unnecessarily burdened. If the person is truly your friend, the person should be able to understand when you are in need without you even asking. The person will be the one to help. But that is not the responsibility of the guy alone. It is also the responsibility of the girl to know when a guy is in need, the person is your friend, there is nothing wrong with you offering help. So we have not said the guy should not help. No. And then somebody also said in the comment section that the Bible says that a man that cannot take care of his family is worse than an infidel. Nobody's talking about a husband here. That's not what we're talking about. The scenario that was painted was a girlfriend who expected the boyfriend to pay for her youth camp fees. I don't know. That was a question that we addressed. And we said such entitlement attitude can actually signal a red flag in a relationship and should be discouraged. If you are a giver or be a receiver, then it means you must always also have the gift of giving. You're not a get to just be collecting and then you don't give out. So please, we shouldn't misunderstand ourselves. We should be willing to help one another, whether you're male, whether you're female. When someone is in need, always help. That's just what the emphasis we are making here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Eddie, for that wonderful conclusion to this. Time is not our friend. Pastor Dixon, I don't know.
Yeah, it's already 4 minutes to 10, but I think it would be nice that you give all the hands that are up half a minute to speak. Let's just run through all of them in the order that they have raised their hands. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. So let's hear them, and then we can close. From Nigel to Casey to Chioma to Ten, Henry, and Anand Blessing, in that order. Then, if there are responses, we can give them and close. Thank you.
All right, so let's go. Nigel, please, time. Let's go. Let's go.
Thank you very much. I'm so honored and happy to be here. So quickly, what I have to say here is that seeing from this whole discourse, I've seen something in general that there are a lot of entitlement, or let me say some expectations from the guys and from the ladies. So, but there's something that I've seen. There is this part of financial obligation that is expected that people don't communicate enough, or will I say people are not of same perspective in terms of their mental thinking, or the way they communicate, or the way they think, or the way they perceive things. First and foremost, it's only but natural for a guy to give to his girl. That is natural. So there's nothing wrong in that. But society has put it that it is abnormal for a boyfriend not to be frequently giving to his girlfriend. And moreover, forgetting that all hands are not equal. Sometimes these things spur from either your past relationship or the relationships that you see around you. So all of these ideologies, they come into our heads, whether as a guy or as a lady, how we respond to all of these things. So, but the whole thing that I want to chip in here is that we should have this core ideology that we are into partnership with whomever we are dealing with. So, the speakers also talked about educational wise. Some guys feel intimidated when the lady is doing well financially, or when they are more educated than them. All of these things. So it boils down to our psychology, our thinking. We should come to this sense or this awareness that we are not competing with anybody. We are coming as a partnership. By the time we have this sense of partnership, it will help to neutralize any contentions that we have. Let me just stop at this point so
Thank you
others
very
can
much.
speak up.
Thank you. KACY, please, KC. You can quickly go. Yeah, good evening. Could you speak out a bit?
Okay.
All right. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. It's connected on the Bluetooth before. I'm so excited. I said I won't miss this program when I got the invite. So I had to connect it while doing choices at home. What I want to more of the questions that I would like to ask. You see, there's one thing we always put to ourselves, that is the guys. And what's that thing? Do you know that guys always expect much from a girl? You see, I come across, psychological speaking, I came across this particular friends of mine. They are both together, a friend of mine. I'm actually talking about a friend of mine. And I have to now ask them this question. Why is it that you always often call, you keep calling, try to call your girlfriend and say, how are you doing? How is this? How is that? Do you know you give this girl the actual belief that she's much more important than anything you're doing particularly? I said we have to have this reduce in communication, because once you're calling up a girl steady, even my elder sister will say, if you're calling up a woman steady, you are giving her this intention of request. And that is where guys will be like, let us pull off back. What am I about to say? Once it has to come to billing, because the question is that we should just spoke about, but once it has to come to billing, it's us giving it the room. That's actually it. We are giving it the room for such billing. I am a guy. I want to fall in love. I want to have a girlfriend. What am I expecting to give? What is the kind of relationship I want to give? My mom and my dad always give me this words that if you want to have anything to do a lady, make sure you know their parents. If you have not gotten up to the stage of having parents relationship, so that the parents are, okay, that's my my daughter's boyfriend or this, as an adult, stay off. Gone are the days where we'll be like, okay, let us just want to just do some kind of beautiful exuberance or kind of a thing. Because I was paying attention when somebody, when a question was being asked, relationship on sex and all that kind of stuff. If we're not into it, that's my own option. If we're not into it, we should let it loose. Ladies are always what? Sorry, I'll cut by that. Ladies are always in a state of demand. The ladies are always in a state of demand. There is no particular guy that's going to be in a relationship that I don't want to ask. Even my kid sister, most times, if I have to just call her, how are you doing? They are not fine. Normally, they are not actually fine. So, in the right sense, is that if we guys are already in terms of relationship of a thing, let us know our goal. It will help us know what we are actually going for. If we know our particular goal, okay, this is, I'm actually going to this particular girl. I'm interested to know her. I want to love her. I want to feel for her. Flow with the family. In the sense that, and while I was listening to the program, because I came to my sister's place, I was listening to the program with her. And she said, she just had to just give it a cue, said, there is no family where that the bride price will chase the guy away and the girl claims to love. It's not going to be possible. That means the girl will not love him. It's just like somebody saying, I want to do a wedding shower or a pre-wedding shower, something kind of a thing. And you know that the guy is battling with money. So in terms of billing, as I go to, as I answer the questions, in terms of billing, we need to know our capability in terms of before we fall in love. Just like somebody like me now, I'm in love with someone, and the girl will call me, hey, babe, can you send me 50,000 naira to make my hair? And I'll be like, I don't have money. Can I give you next month? They go, okay, it's fine. Bam, I'm on budget, this. Then you will flow. But if I was like, okay, she's always demanding, you are always creating the awareness.
All right,
You're
all
always
right.
creating the awareness. Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, Timeout, George. Timeout, George, you can speak. If Timeout George is not ready, 10 TN.
Yeah, okay. Good evening, everyone.
Yeah, good evening.
Yes. So my is just first of all, the background matters a lot. Our background matters a lot in this issue of building and billboard, whatever. Background matters a lot. If you are raised to be dependent, you just have to educate. If you are raised to be independent, you have to educate. Then secondly, for crying out loud, friends, what's the meaning of friends? You need to have each other's back. If we are friends, I don't think the giving stuff should be one-sided. From what I know as friends growing up, for what I know as friends, it comes from both sides. And the main thing there is when we receive or when we are giving, what is supposed to follow it is the reciprocation. Now, reciprocation must not necessarily be equal to what was given or what is being received. At least something. I asked my woman, but she got me a Samsung S20. And all I gave her was Lagos. Yeah, he was very happy because he likes to God. I'm so glad. So it's reciprocating is just the main thing, not necessarily the size of what it is. That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much, Henry. Henry.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you very much. I especially want to thank the organizers of this program. Let me just go straight to the point.
Please do.
In talking about this billing, I think the reason for our ladies billing our guys these days is because our ladies, some of our ladies, let me not generalize it, some of our ladies are not self-developed. Some of them are not self-independent. So the conclusion of the whole matter is that our ladies should find something doing. They should work on themselves. They should be self-independent so that they will have something to bring on the table in terms of when it comes to financial needs. Now, concerning the question the other lady asked concerning the bride price and how the tradition in the traditional concepts, they bill people and all of that. Christianity is Christianity, tradition is tradition. The reason why most of our guys find it difficult to get married because they are being given a bride price list and they are finding it difficult to pay is because most of our guys, they go to marry, from a non-Christian home. And that's, some of this tradition, people that are traditional, they will want to be you and, be you to the extent that they want to take everything from your pocket. So that is why initially we were talking about 2 Corinthians that has to do with do not be unequally yoked. When Paul was saying do not be unequally yoked with an unbeliever, you see that is why all these things are coming up. When a Christian goes to a non-Christian home to get married, what do you expect? There will be you. But once you are going to a Christian home, they already have this understanding that, okay, these people are coming to marry my daughter. They are not coming to buy my daughter. There will be a mutual understanding and there will be a good negotiation. So let's not mix Christianity with tradition. If a guy wants to get married, try and get married to a family that a Christian family, and more especially a family that you have a good relationship with. So
All
that
right,
is
thank you very much. Blessing. Chama George, if you're back, I got a message that your network is bad. If you're back, you can quickly speak for a few seconds before I move over to Pastor and others to wrap up. Time is fast spent. Okay, no one is speaking, so
Good evening.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening. Am I heard?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Sorry, I had network issues. I thank God for the discussion we are having this evening. But I want to say from a very different perspective that this cut across both genders. Because in as much as we are discussing about the female, the ladies billing and billing, as rare as it might sound, it's happening. there are men that bill ladies too, and they target the. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
They target the independent ladies, the ones that are independent, they want to help out, and they frustrate these ladies. And I've witnessed a situation where a guy collects a lady's salary and said they are planning for traditional marriage, took the money for months, and he got married to another lady. So this thing is not just one-sided. I know ladies are the ones that always are talking to, but there are also men that fall into these categories too, that need to be aware of this danger, because not just the lady belittling themselves, the men too are also belittling themselves. So I'm just saying that this word is cutting all the genders, both male and female. So we should just learn our lessons. And if there is love, there's sharing. God love, he gave us Jesus. So if he loves us too, and he wants us to love him too. So he's asking us for our own life. Jesus gave his life. Jesus asking us for our own life too. So love is sharing. So just like that. That's what I just want to say.
Preach to my soul. Preach to my soul.
Thank you very much. I think we've exhausted all the hands that are up. Blessing has not still spoken, but we can't keep waiting for her to speak. I think she might be having difficulties on her side.
Yeah, can I speak?
Okay, I've been calling your name for a while. Okay, please, quickly.
I didn't hear. My network is kind of bad, so I'm managing the
All right,
network.
quickly. 30 seconds starts now.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, please. Go ahead.
Very loud. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Please go on.
Can anybody hear me?
We can hear you.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Can anyone hear me?
Yes.
Loud and clear, please go on.
Our network is.
Okay, I'll just.
Well, your network has is frustrating all your efforts. Well, sorry about that. Blessing, you can drop it in the comment, and thank you to all our panelists. I can see they've been answering some of the comments in the chats, which is very wonderful of them. And thank you for your time. Thank you for your resources and everything. But to be unfair for me to just end without, I don't know if any of the panelists want to say something. To be unfair for us to end without hearing if you have something to say, because I mean, we brought you here, and it's be nice if you share your final thoughts with us. But if you have nothing to say, that's also fine. So, Pastor, as you're answering the questions that you have noted down, please add this question: is it okay for an Adventist to date someone that has not met or she has not met before, but the person is also an Adventist and they just want to kick it started online? Is that also something that can be considered? So as you're answering your questions, you can find a way to sneak that in. I don't know. So I can't see any hand from the panelists, Dr. Eddie, Dr. Bauer, Dr. Ernest, and their various spouse. If you have anything to say.
I think you should just, they're all here, so let them give their final thoughts. Dr. Ernest
We are
is
looking
looking
forward
at
to
you.
the next edition. That's my final thought. We're looking forward to the next
Thank you, Auntie. So let the panelists go around, then I can speak.
Okay. Pastor, please, I think I want to request that we follow that link that Chukwe Buka Emmanuel dropped. Yeah, so that if we have other things to say, we can just go and empty our minds there. Thank you.
All right.
If I may, my closing thoughts would be that we adopt a growth mindset. I think that is the one thing that we can never outgrow at whatever age we find ourselves, either as singles who are praying to God to bring our way a life partner that will complement us the best way possible. We just have to be able to work on ourselves so that whoever comes our way will meet someone who will enhance them. Problem is we have a tendency of always looking out for ourselves, what we will get, what other people have to offer, and it limits to a great extent the massive potentials that God has placed in each and every one of us. People these days are not asking, what do I bring? What do I give? How do I enhance? How do I make better this person whom I've been in contact with for X number of years, and which is why I would tell even my, those under my influence that if you have a circle of friends and you're not growing, then it's been an absolute waste of your time, So we should learn to encourage growth. And for those of us who are on the other side, that God has given the grace to mentor, we should be more intentional with what we do with our presence around these younger people, because we may not have had the privilege of being, mentored in a way that was ideal, but it's also possible that it's a function of the lack of capacity or knowledge or exposure of those who we ought to have looked up to, But now that God has placed in our hands and our hearts that capacity, let's not pass it. Let it not pass by, without us doing what is necessary. It comes with a lot of sacrifices, and so that by the grace of God, those coming behind can have a legacy that others will be able to look forward to and find something tangible to learn from. Otherwise, we will just have a situation where the next generation will be so problematic that we cannot just imagine what comes afterwards. So, are you a gentleman or a lady? Let it be about building capacity, spiritually, financially, career-wise. You can be the best at. I'm tired of the whole playing average mentality that we have all around us. If, and like we said during the last session, if the church, which has unfortunately not really provided that, intentionality in terms of structure that will help to foster what we are discussing, then it becomes necessary that at our very individual level, the fact that we're talking about it means that certain problems have been identified. So we don't have to wait until General Conference or Union or whoever gather us. When right in our various churches, there are tens and hundreds of young people under our influence that we can directly influence every week, every month, every quarter, with tangible feedback to know whether or not we are doing things in the right direction. So beyond that, young man, young woman, grow, measure your growth, and then put yourself in a position where anybody who comes into your life will bless God for what he has done in you, not you being a moving hazard. You are looking for who will come into your life that will run away, as quickly as the person came into your life, because you're not ready, and all that defines you are things that you think you want to get, what other people should bring to the table for you, whereas you are not willing to lift a finger or put in the hard work or nurture. You want to be nurtured, but you cannot nurture. So it's crazy, and I don't understand how we got to this point. With everything we read from the Bible, all the kingdom principles that you derive from Genesis to Revelation, some of the things that define our mindset is very, 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 very tragic, in my opinion. So let there be a shift in how we view these things. And I'm very, very positive that some of the kind of questions that bother us will be no questions at all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Dr. Potts.
Yeah,
Yes.
for just a second I go. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for having me this evening. I initially told my husband I was going to be here for 1 hour, but I'm surprised that I'm here and it's past 10. All right. My closing remarks would just be, let's be true to ourselves. Please do not package yourself to be who you're not for marriage, because packaging will not last. I like the man who said he wanted a girl here at Babcock. She said she wants a car that is so expensive, and he just walked away. Yeah. For marriage is coming, and you know that you don't want that person, please don't waste their time. All right. And one of the things that I just wanted to add earlier, but I waited, is the fact that we tend to take people who we're not really serious about for granted. And this is reference to, the gifts and asking for gifts. So if someone is always asking you for stuff, the truth of the matter is you're just that ATM. They're not really serious about you. So also guard your heart, guard yourself. If someone is not adding value to you, if someone is not considerate or doesn't really show that they care about your own emotions, your problems, things about you, please be strong enough to move on and find someone that will care. I've learned that in this life, there is no one person meant for anyone. If someone who's been married before will lose his spouse and find love again, if you're in a relationship and someone does not want you for marriage, you might have a heartbreak, but my dear, you will find love with someone else. If you keep holding on to that particular relationship, you will miss out on the actual person that is meant for you. So let's not, pretend to be who we're not because we want to get married to someone. Let's put ourselves first, okay? Someone is not treating you right, look for the person who will treat you right. And I believe that everything will work out well for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Platt. It's always a pleasure. Elder Mrs. Bauer, any good thoughts for us before you go?
Thank you so much for having us. It's been a wonderful time. Like Dr. Pat said, we thought we'll be gone, but this has been interesting, and it's our prayer that it will yield the desired fruits in Jesus' name. Well done, everybody. Been great being with you. Thank you. And that's for both of us, I guess. He said yes.
Godwin. Thank you very much, Dr. Eddie, Pastor Eddie. I can't see them. I don't know if they're still here.
They're gone. They're gone. They're gone.
Okay. So, Pastor Dixon, over to you.
Thank you so much, Patrick and Dr. Chibike. Thank you, our panelists, for making our evening. Dr. Pat, it's a miracle that you're here. I don't know what happened. Thank you for staying here till now. We appreciate. Dr. Nest, thank you. The Bowers, we appreciate you. Now, truth be told, matters of bride price, in most cases, Adventists don't do different. Because Henry was talking about if people come to marry people in the church. I have attended severally. I have served as chairperson. These Adventist people will also go back to the village and bring the list. Is there something that the church could do? Some years back, the church in Eastern Nigeria actually came up with a list that must be followed. And it operated for some time under Pastor Gideon Mogu. But I tell you, it was the church members who felt that they were not getting anything from the children they have trained, because in the mind, the child is an asset. So having spent all this money, I must get something. So consciously or unconsciously, we put our children for sale. And then the young men who have been desirous of getting married are scared away. And when they try here and try here, it's not working, then they go outside and get somebody for free. Unfortunately for us, sometimes they end up impregnating them, and after they have impregnated these Adventist girls, they marry them for free. They cohabit and have children, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then parents will now be begging them, come and remove our shame. Whatever you have, just bring it. So I think that this discussion should be moved to parents. The singles may not have so much to contribute. because even while their prayer price is being discussed, they are not present. They can only talk from behind. Okay, so we will need to have a conversation with parents where this kind of things should happen. We are really thinking about having a session, a summit for couples that may probably involve the singles. So this kind of topic, and Dr. Chibike, take note, this kind of topic should actually be part of the discussion so that we can bring the parents and the young people together and then hit up the system. Let's discuss. Let's have the young people open up, and then let's have the parents. Perhaps we may win 1, 2, 3, and that will just be a start. Because the truth is that you train your daughter. I had an experience. A lady was trained, and the parents said, "This guy cannot marry you because." So what happens to all the money we spent in university if he marries you? So it means that by the time a lady is sent to school, it was with the intention that something good will come from that investment. I mean, marriage is just the beginning of a new relationship. It's not the end of it. So why do you have to get everything you want to get? Okay, I'm forgetting that by the time the lady does not get married, and to a certain time, she becomes a prayer point in the house. So I think parents need to hear so much more because some of the troubles young people are suffering from, I must say, have not been caused by their parents. Unrealistic expectations, undue demand and pressure from here and there. Okay. So Mike said that he has that's right, that's right. Um, when my daughter wants to get married, then we can talk. Even my children are angry that they are asking me, Daddy, all those people, all those Amala people, where were they when you were paying school fees? Who gave them entitlement? All kinds of discussion. But I think as Adventist parents who were on this platform tonight, we need to take responsibility. At least let's brighten the corner where we are. Let's brighten the corner. The other thing that I must say is that some of our parents also cause problems. They belong to these community, meetings, and then they go to other people's families and then host where they go to other people's marriage, children's marriages, and they insist that this must be done. So when it is their own turn, they shut up. The community people will
That's the
also say,
problem, sir.
the community people will now come and say, hey, you have taken your own share. Keep quiet here. Let's also take our own. So I think Adventist involvement with community matters, it's also a major problem, a very big problem that we have. I experienced that myself. My father-in-law had died, and my mother-in-law is one of the people who involved in those things. I mean, I saw her. I worked out on them. By the time they finished extorting me and they said I should come to eat, I walked away. I said, I'm not eating no food. They said they will fine me if I don't. I said, to hell with you and your fine. You fine me, you pay the fine. So it's stupid. It's stupid. But it's fine. If you are ready to get married and you are stuck with that, call me. That's what I want to tell you. I have brokered a number of those kind of situations, and by God's grace, we're able to, break even with some of them. So if you run into Waterloo, if you are ready to get married and there is difficulty with the bride price, call me so that I can join you with the negotiation because somehow God has also put it on my heart to not just talk here, but to be part of the negotiation. And severally, something good has come out of them. Because I tell the parents, look, what do you prefer? Is it that the lady comes back with pregnancy, or that you are wise to ensure that you set up a relationship that will last forever, and then your son-in-law will value you for a lifetime? So, having said all of that, I just want to thank all of you for being here tonight and to say that the Complete Singles platform is an opportunity for you to grow on every side while waiting for your sweetheart, who is on the way. So take advantage. We cannot just hide under the umbrella of I'm an Adventist and then you go to sleep. Prepare yourself. You may not have money. You may not have money right now, but how tall is your dream? And that the fact that you're not a graduate does not mean you cannot marry a graduate. I mean, it doesn't. If your dream is tall and you have direction, you are committed, and then you can go ahead. And for my sisters, I when this topic came up early, I was vexed. You guys will remember that I was sharing a lot of things. I have had very, 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 very nasty experiences with counseling with young people. I can tell you I have one, two, three, four, five guys, like I said last time, who have tried to start up relationships with Adventist sisters, but they shut them out. I mean, I'm even talking about graduate to graduate. And these people are people who are gainfully employed, but just that they have not made millions. But these sisters are looking for those who have got money, and the guys walked away. Those guys are married now, and those sisters are still waiting. Probably in the next 1, 2, 3 years, when reality dawns on them, they would be the ones to come up and say, Adventist guys don't marry Adventist sisters. They will be
They
the
need
ones to
Holy
come out.
Ghost filled and Naira rolled.
They will be the one to come out to share, say, Adventist guys, they marry from outside. But when they approached you, you kept your standard on high. Many of you, I'm sure somebody here knows Dedonike. The late Dedonike wasn't a graduate, but he married a graduate. You won't know he wasn't a graduate because he rose to the task and he played his role. Although he wasn't a graduate because he didn't get the opportunity, he read his way, to the top, and he was able to match up with his wife, and he held his family. So even if you are not a graduate and you are an Adventist, don't be shy, don't be timid. Wise up, and then be sure that you are going to go to school. If you're a young lady and you're a graduate, don't let the fact that you're going to school constitute a stumbling block because you have just gone to get a certificate. The guy may have a skill, okay? He may not have academic certification, but he has something that puts food on his table. So check your compatibility level. If his IQ matches with your own and it is not insecure, then two of you can get married. For you to say, me, I've gone to school, I cannot marry somebody who's not a graduate. And then the days and times are passing by, your God-given partner leaves you and goes elsewhere, and you are still here talking and waiting. So let us not allow our inordinate desires, our unrealistic expectations, or our parochial tendencies to become stumbling block. Because tomorrow, I tell you the truth, when a sister is 30, 35, going to 40 and not married, there's a downward, diminishing return that catches up on you, and then prayer requests here and there. And then for those of you who are guys, let's be purposeful. Don't waste money. If you have 5,000 naira, if you have 20,000 naira, don't go and buy one senator. Okay, you have 50,000, you buy one senator. You have 200,000, you buy one phone. Yet you are crying there's no money. When you can buy a phone of 50,000 naira or 80,000 naira, if that's too small, and then use the rest to go far in your marital process. You carry gadgets, you buy expensive shoes, you buy expensive watch, hand watch, you wristwatch, you buy expensive dresses, and you are crying there is no money to get married. I mean that's stupid. So let's check inside and be sure that we are not the problems that we're having. Let me end here, Patrick, so we can close. Patrick?
Am I the only one still here?
Yeah, I'm looking for him. Dr. Chibike, you want to close us? Patrick is not here anymore.
Oh, okay. Probably network. Okay, we want to thank everyone for participating, our panelists and friends, especially those who contributed to the billing session. Okay, I think we can wrap up. We'll take the closing prayer. Is Dr. Ernest Sonuri here? Yes, if you're here, please can you help us with the closing prayer so that we can go to bed?
All right. Let us pray. Dear Father, thank you for the grace to be here. Thank you for life and all that has been said. For those who have said and for those who have heard and listened, we pray, Lord, that you help us to be better versions of ourselves, to surrender ourselves to you and to trust you to lead us, to guide and direct us. There are quite a number of societal ills that have crept into our mentality, orientation, and way of life, which do not augur well for the persons you want us to be. Lord, we ask that you grant us wisdom that is from you, that will help us to cut ourselves off from the foolishness of this world. Help us to stand out as young men and women, singles, who are looking up to you to grant us our life partners in your time, according to your will. We pray, Lord, that you help us, that while we are waiting, that we will be engaged in acts of service that will help to refine us, that will groom us, that will enhance our growth and make us better prepared for when you bring him or her our way. For the organizers, I pray that you grant them the wisdom and strength to do even more. For after every session comes more insight as to other things that need to be done. For all the facilitators, I ask that you help each and every one of us not to derail in any way, to continue to look up to you, to trust you. We ask beyond this session that you grant us a beautiful night's rest, wake us up healthier than we are now, stronger than we are now, and grant us a productive day tomorrow by your grace. Could we have said anything amiss? We ask that you forgive us. For every young person that have taken part in today's program, and I ask for upliftment, for empowerment, for special blessings. These and many more we ask, for we have prayed in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. Good night.
Thank you, Dr. Chibuike. Thank you, Dr. Mike Oku, all the way from the US joining us. Thank you, our international audience. We appreciate you. Our graduates from different parts of the world, thank you for joining. We love you so much. All our friends of Pastor Eddie, friends of the Bowers, thank you for joining. Dr. Obai, thank you for joining us. Good luck. Thank you, everyone. I pray God blesses you. Oh, Patrick, you're back. Thank you so much, Patrick, for facilitating. You are quite an amazing guy. Driving this panel wasn't easy, so thank you. May God bless all of you. We will announce the next line of direction. Yeah, thank you, Constance, for helping in the coordination tonight. In no distant time, we'll announce the next line of direction. So keep it in touch with us. Let's keep learning. Let's keep perfecting, because ignorance is too expensive. So we must get rid of it. That's why we are here. Let's work together towards sacrificing ignorance so that everybody can be fine. Good night. Pastor
Thank
Prosper.
you, sir.
I forgot Pastor Prosper. Pastor Prosper, thank you for hosting us. May God bless you. It's not here.
Pastor Dixon, thank you, sir.
Yes, Auntie. How's life?
Life is fine. This one hit us. This evening discussion.
Take it, take it,
Is very well.
take it. Let's take it, take it.
Well, sir, we